Quack, 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 quack. No!
Hell was that?
You're muted.
Damn it. Welcome in, everyone. I had to do it. I had to do it after this weekend. Oh, I felt so good. Welcome in, everyone, to the Voice of College Football. It's College Football After Dark right here on the main channel. We have a bunch of stuff to get into. But as usual, I'm just Ben of Ben and Sam on YouTube here. One by one, everyone, please, if people do want to waste their time and follow you on social media to see your random posts, please tell them where they can follow you.
Oh, man. Well, they can follow me and stalk me at Jackson Johnson 979, of course. They can on YouTube, and they can also find me on X at Jackson VOCFB, and they can find me on Jackson Johnson 543908 on Instagram and Threads, and they can also find me on Alabama at the Voice of College Football Monday afternoons, 5 p.m. Central Time, with Johnny Burtz as we bring the latest news and notes on the Alabama Crimson Tide, including our take on the Alabama-Wisconsin matchup, and we go over a little bit about whether we're going to see Alabama-West Virginia on the future schedules or not. And we're going to be going over a little bit about our take on Tua's injury, the impact of Ryan Williams, and he's not even 18 yet, and so much more, and what we need to work on during the bye week. So stay tuned.
Sean actually isn't there, and you don't follow him anywhere. He has nothing. Just follow him here. Yeah.
Nah, he's got some pretty cool takes. I mean, he's got pretty cool takes. He's a cool dude.
He's all right. Spaz, what about you? Where can people follow you if they want to?
They
Stalk
can
you
follow
online.
Stalk me on Instagram and on the X at Sean_Spazdrag.
Well, speaking of Sean, he's back. They can't follow you anywhere.
Yeah, they can.
Nope.
Just on here. Just on Mark Rogers' shows.
That's fair. That's normal for Sean. That's fine. I do want to do some housekeeping here.
Housekeeping.
Welcome DK Fishing and Outdoors. A new member. Make sure, DK, that you give Mark an email and let him know you're a member so you can get onto the Discord. And then you are also invited through that to the open panel here every Sunday night when we drop the link. And you can come on here and discuss all things college football regarding the past weekend.
Oh, yeah.
We do all the time. So, again, YouTube membership or join the Patreon. You get in the Discord, talk football all year round with us. These guys are having a lot of watch parties and stuff like that. And then you can come on the Sunday night show, too. It's open panel. I just send the link out. And whoever wants to out of the community can jump on and join us and have a conversation.
So, DK, that means if you want to come in, you're more than welcome to come in on the Sunday show now and
Absolutely
give us your takes. The link should be in the Discord, correct, Ben?
It is. He has to get the Discord link through Mark. So I don't know how long that will take. Oh, he's on Patreon too, he says. So he's on Discord. Okay, so it's on Discord. So he's already in there. He can come up anytime. Yeah.
Yeah, the stipulation, if you do ever come on the show, you have to bring a new picture of a sick fucking bass or whatever is on your line there.
Yes, that too. That is a requirement. I agree. Especially from a fishing outdoors guy. Have to. Other housekeeping notes really quickly. Shout out to South Alabama for scoring 87 points against Northwestern State. Good job. Way to go. And one other housekeeping topic. This is the only time during the show, so if you have to get out of your system, do it now. Congratulations, Merrimack football, for beating Bucknell 31-21. Let's go, Merrimack.
Absolutely.
You are now one in
The
one
alma
and two of
mater
the
of
season.
CFB After Dark.
You're
One
fired.
Undefeated in FCS play. Yeah, strong
Yeah.
playoff push the Warriors are making here.
Yeah, they lost to Air Force and
UConn.
UConn. No, of all teams, UConn. UConn blew them out. Holy
Yes. Crap. Took a dump on the Warriors.
63-17. UConn of all teams. Jeez.
Merrimack looking like Mary crap. That one. Yeah.
Hey, it can't be any worse than Florida State looking.
Well, that is what we got.
Let's set a hypothetical line on Florida State Merrimack. I would give the Florida State minus about 8.
Neutral site.
I might give Merrimack the win just for showing up.
Yeah,
True.
Yeah.
Let's get into this because this is the topic. Because I mean, my God, you just came off a bye week. You're the laughing stock of college football. You were top 10. You were number 10. You're not ranked, and then you come off a bye week and do that on live TV again.
it's pitiful.
Jackson, I know you rail against the cupcake games, but these are why they're there. So you don't start off 0-3. They played three not terrible teams, 3 quality opponents. I don't think
I don't rail on like Florida State, but I can tell you right now, Florida State. I've been, because like some of the shows that I've done with like Austin, some people that have tuned in, they've seen me go off on Florida State. So it's like I'm not gonna go because it's not the fans or the media people that I'm going off. I'm going off on the team because all I can say is ACC champions. My ass. They're not acting like champions. All they're doing is popping off about what could have been, what should have been, what would have been. Well, you know what it is, and you didn't get in last year, okay? You didn't get in. You got screwed over. Now all it takes is where you go from there. Now, I've seen this millions and millions of times where people in our lifetimes have been like, oh, well, this is what could have been. This is what could have been. And they've made their whole personality of this is what could have been. Well, guess what? It isn't. That's what I say to you, Florida State Nation. Stop living off what could have been. That's what I say. You got screwed over last year, okay? Now you're letting it affect the rest of your season. And the one thing about being down is the only way to go is up. You got a chance to make things right against Cal. You have a chance to salvage something in 2024. This way you can set up momentum for 2025. That's what you need to be thinking about. You cannot be playing like horse dung like you did against Memphis, Boston College, and Georgia Tech. Yeah, they played like horse dung this year. And you need to look at a quarterback change because DJU is not getting it done. He's not.
And that's something that's come up now twice now with hook him here and keep chopping. He's the only one. I'm like, he is the best probably quarterback on the roster. That's how bad it is.
No,
and I think that's
similar situation with Michigan this year. It's like, you may not like the guy you have, but he's probably the best one you got, the best option you got.
Yeah, and I agree with you, Jackson. I think it is last year getting left out like they did, all the transfers, the sit-outs, people going to the draft. You understand there's always going to be those things, but this team just went, screw it, and then just has never recovered for whatever reason this season. And then I'm sorry, DJU is just meh.
Had like 15 people sit out that bowl game. I mean, it was bananas.
Wow.
I don't know. I don't think anyone was expecting them to go 0-3, but you knew, like, looking at that schedule, everyone expected Boston College to be pretty cheeks this year. It turns out they're not.
No.
Georgia Tech, I think everyone kind of knew was kind of a sneaky, mid-level Power 5 power team, and Memphis was a hot name for the Group of Five playoff bid. So it's not like they don't have like a singular, just terrible loss in here, but oh my God. Just starting off this way, 0-3. And honestly,
a bye week.
And the games against Memphis and Boston College weren't particularly close either. Like they were fairly decisive losses. I mean, they just look like they are rarely going to ever beat those caliber of teams. And I don't know what is going on in the state of Florida. I mean, Billy Napier is just about done here. Like he is the head coach of Florida by official title only.
Oh yeah, I mean, honestly, that whole thing where he decided he was going with Graham Mertz to be the starter against Texas A&M instead of DJ Lagway basically shows me that Billy Napier is daring his bosses in Gainesville to fire him. He is making an all-out dare on them because he knows
because he started a sixth-year senior who had a good season last year over a true freshman. That was
you're not winning games with Graham Mertz. You might as well take a chance with DJ Lagway, honestly. You're not going to win games with Graham Mertz. Graham
Mertz is the least of that team's problems. They got issues everywhere.
But still, though, $26 million. Now, I know that's not as high as Jimbo Fisher's buyout, but I'm going to be real with you. I think it's not a matter of if, but it's when Napier is gone. He's out. I mean, there's just no question about it. Question is, who's going to take over the town in Gainesville, Florida?
Well, I heard on an interim basis it might be Dan Enos, but they've got the greatest head coach, the greatest interim coach of all times, living right there in the state that they could probably just pluck for the rest of the games. You know who I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah,
the best interim coach of all time.
No,
no one's getting at O here.
No one's going.
No one's pulling at Orgeron.
No one's touching that. No one's touching that. Right now, Matthew Miller, super chat. Hello, thank you very much. Mark appreciates it. Right now, name all the teams that could win the Natty. Oh,
I would probably put 3 and then maybe for a 4th. That's Texas, Georgia, Ohio State, and maybe Bama. I mean, I think it's a stretch, but for Bama,
all reasonable teams though. That right now in this point in the season that we're looking at.
I could throw Tennessee in there too. Tennessee until they play a real offensive team, so I can see defense. Yeah. If their defense goes and shuts down Oklahoma next week, even though I don't think Oklahoma's all that great, if they go and hold them to 14 points and 200 yards, then I'll know they're legit. If it's another 49-35 win, no.
Roger's just in here pasting.
Roger's being salty in the chat tonight. I don't know what's going on. He's been very salty in the chat. I agree with you, Sean. I agree with you, Sean. Though I think Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Tennessee. Yeah, I need to see them win a game because that's just their history. They always kind of flop with the last ones.
They're not going to win against Georgia, obviously.
No, I don't. Yeah, we're going to have to wait and see. Obviously, I would say I need to see more from Oregon before I start, pumping the horn. I need to see consistency, to say the least. It's Ohio State, obviously.
I told you all it was the heat, man. Those first 2 games at Autzen were 90+ degrees. We're not used to playing in that. They hadn't practiced in that kind of weather all year.
Well, what's your predictions for the teams that can win a Natty?
I still say it's the top 4 teams to start the season. Oregon, Ohio State, Bama, and Texas, and maybe Georgia. After what I saw Kentucky do against Georgia yesterday by almost beating them, how good is Georgia's offense if you put some pressure on Mr. Beck? He didn't do so well yesterday.
But isn't this kind of a Georgia special? Don't they do this like once a year? Don't they just play like go on the road and play some lower level SEC game that they're favored to beat by 25 and it's a dogfight?
Yeah,
it's like
they have one or two of those a year.
Yeah, 2022 they played like horse dung against Kent State in week 4 of that year.
Yeah, I think every top team has a game like that.
No. Ohio State. This is the one thing no one can knock Ryan Day for at Ohio State. He does not have games like this. Ohio State pretty much buries lesser competition. They don't have like a single close competitive game against like a team outside the top 25 in his entire tenure.
I do think though, and I mean, you can look at it in the moment when you see these games. When you see these games and go, oh, garbage. But I think it is, in retrospect, if you look at it, it's good for those teams to have those types of games where it puts pressure on the team too. Like, hey, you mess up once, it's over. You're done. So I think it's an important thing mentality-wise for teams to have these types of games. Jackson, you're
it's kind of worth noting that for various reasons, Georgia was down quite a few players yesterday. Now, a lot of that is their own damn fault. It's a big problem with the program, but
you bring that up to anybody, and they're like, "I don't know what you're talking about."
Well, my teams that I think could win it all are Georgia, Texas, Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon. Because, I mean, like, I get it. Oregon looked sloppy the first 2 weeks of the season. But here's the thing, though. I had a feeling they were getting their kinks out a little bit because they don't want to release everything until they play Ohio State. Because that's been my theory, honestly. Because, I mean, you don't want to release everything against an Idaho or a down-and-out Boise State team just yet. You want to save everything for the biggest games of the year.
I think that's, in a way, it's fair. I mean, Spaz and I have talked about this, is that I think there is just vanilla calls, but there was an offensive line problem. That is not a joke.
Yeah.
There definitely was, and they're
not deceptively. Oh, let them all think we can't block. That's going to be our game.
No. There's no line.
Slash the line on, and then we'll bring out the 2019 Bama line for.
It is better. It's getting improved. It is getting better, though.
I think a team that definitely needs to be looked out for is USC because they can definitely put some scares in. Like, I'm not saying they're going to be like a national title team, but I think they're one of those teams that can win a playoff game. I think they can, honestly.
That's fair.
And they've got a really nice schedule set up. They don't play Ohio State. They don't play Oregon. That game against Michigan's looking much more manageable than it did.
They do have Penn State. But quickly, Matthew Miller, thank you again for the super chat. We appreciate it. To everyone, too.
I'm being honest, B-Bean. I do believe Oregon can compete for Natty. I mean, I believe what Dylan Gabriel can do. I've seen that magic he pulled out. I've seen the magic he pulled at UCF and Oklahoma.
They have to do a hell of a lot more for me before I include them in that tier. So
we'll show you on October.
Apologies to the people on our panel, to our ducks on the panel.
Now talking with USC, and this is no dig on USC.
We'll show you on October 12th what it's all about.
You may well shut me right up.
Yeah, this is no dig on USC. I'm just trying to find it here on my list of shit. Did the LSU game yesterday hurt that win though? Because LSU was absolute trash. They look like absolute garbage. So like, does that hurt at all? Does it make LSU look, or do we need more information?
We need more. We need more. These are the first 3 weeks of the season, not week 10 or week 11.
Yeah, I was thinking that LSU defense it looks worse because I was thinking that LSU defense had actually improved significantly from last year, but then they give up a bunch to Nichols, and then they are in that dogfight against South Carolina,
36-33.
And I'm like, okay, it does look like their defense does actually just still suck. So the fact that USC, had a game in the 20s with them, a tight game. I mean, like that's good. It's good that you won the game, but honestly, that you look at the body of work from USC right now, and it looks less impressive than it did in real time.
But that's why I said this is not a shot at USC just because Roger Dodger is being salty in the chat, little bitch. Not a shot. It was just that game was kind of surprising. It was just kind of like yes, it was a road game for LSU, understood, but 36-33 against South Carolina. That was kind of a surprising score.
Well, and they should have lost. Well, let's be honest. Like, I don't know if you guys saw like the big moment in this game. South Carolina picked off a pass, ran it back 100 yards, but some knucklehead from South Carolina just knocked the quarterback right in the head about 50 yards away from the play and wiped out the return. And so like South Carolina almost for sure wins that game if that one guy doesn't do that ridiculously stupid
South
thing.
Carolina, I mean, that's the second straight week where we saw somebody on 11 a.m. blow their shot at victory. We saw that with Arkansas against Oklahoma State. They blew it in the second half. Same thing with South Carolina. South Carolina blew it. They blew it. There's no being nice about it. They blew it. They blew it.
They blew it worse than anybody. It's one of the worst fumbles of the year.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm reading the chat.
Agreed. I mean, that's just kind of what I like to do is let the season play out. Like some people just tend to go, oh, well, this team is doomed in week 1. This team is doomed week 3. No, they're not. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. It's week 3, not week 13.
Yeah.
But you people are killing me.
It's pretty rare though that a national champion, whoever wins it, isn't one of the couple teams we thought were going to do it at the beginning of the year. And usually you can see it, you can sense a national champion fairly early in the season, and you can sense when teams have flaws. I mean,
I think that's the point. I mean, that's why I think with LSU, it's the same thing. We need more data, in a way, because teams are going to struggle here and there. I mean, to our next team we can talk about if we want to. Well, welcome back, Notre Dame. You found an offense, apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Is this?
Yeah, I remember. I was seeing Thomas Hammock on all these shows. He was on Pardon My Take for Barstool Sport. He was on Dan Patrick's show, and he was on Fearless with Jason Whitlock, and he was like saying, "Hey, listen, Marcus, I can tell you how we beat you. I mean, if you want, I mean, I can give you that little game plan. That this way your teams can learn what to do, what not to do in the next several games." Coach Freeman was like, "You know what? Yes, I'll do that." He could just been like, I'll just let my assistants take care of it. But he didn't. I mean, I do think Marcus Freeman's a pretty cool coach, but it's just I'm hoping we don't see more of this again. I don't want to see Notre Dame crapping out like they did against Marshall and Stanford 2022.
And almost Cal. Remember, almost Cal also.
Here's my question. Has Notre Dame, I mean, like, if not completely played themselves out of the playoff already, have they just left themselves with no more lifelines? And they just have to win out now because
there's no more lifelines. There's no more lifelines.
They have to win out. They have to go 11-1 or at least 10-2. Because if they don't have either one of those records, if they go like say 9-3 or 8-4, Marcus Freeman,
no. They can never get one that's a 9-3 or 8-4 team ever. But
no. They have to pretty much go undefeated because no conference title game. But with a Northern Illinois loss at home, you got to run the table. You have to be 11-1. If you lose to, and you could honestly say now they're going to probably lose to like USC. They still play They still play Stanford, don't they?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah. And Stanford again.
The reason I ask if they've played themselves out already is their schedule is actually pretty weak this year. It's not going to. A&M
and USC were their highlights this year.
Yeah,
that was.
Don't forget Louisville, Georgia Tech. I think Georgia Tech can bring their A game at home.
Yeah.
I'm serious. I mean, we saw what they did against Florida State in week 0, and we're going to learn a little more about what they can do against Louisville next week.
Stop it, chat. You're killing me tonight. I don't know what's going on.
I'm telling you, man.
Killing me.
Huh. Well, I mean, Spaz does kind of look a little bit like Beetlejuice, but he's got that John Cazale look from Dog Day Afternoon with the haircut.
Oh, at least you didn't see the photo he sent me yesterday. He's like, "Can we push the show back like 15 more minutes? I'm a little messed up right now." And he sent me a photo. I'm like, "Oh God." God. Notre Dame. Welcome back to finding an offense, though. That was at least it was impressive. It was something to see.
I think that loss to Northern Illinois was basically a reality check. It was a reality check for the Fighting Irish.
But how long will it last?
That's a good question because they can't play like crap against Miami, Ohio. They can't be playing like crap against Louisville or Stanford, Navy, Virginia, Florida State, Army. No. They need to treat every game like it's the best game ever.
What is happening, Spaz? What is going on over here? There's like he's muted.
Spaz, you're muted.
That's good.
That better?
That is a little better. Yeah, that was a little better. It was like really funky. Yeah, it was really funky looking for a second there. I was like, what is going on with this camera right now? But
I was changing my lighting.
Quick change, not change of topics. It's still talking over this teams and the games yesterday. I thought the exciting game was going to be Arizona, Kansas State. Apparently Arizona forgot to play football after the first drive where they took 7.5 minutes for a touchdown. And then Kansas State took the rest of the quarter for a touchdown. And then Arizona forgot they were playing a football game offensively, apparently.
Oh, Kansas State smacked them big time. They smacked them on Friday night.
Yeah, I thought that was going to be an exciting game. And
it was pretty fun watching a little bit of it. But, I know another game I had fun watching was UNLV, Kansas.
Let's still talk about it, not blow over.
Let's go into K-State quick in Arizona because that was my next topic a little bit on with Jackson. Yeah. But Arizona looks so good that first drive. I mean, you do 15 plays, 7.5 minutes, touchdown. That's an impressive drive. Makes a statement like, "Hey, we're going to do this." But then Kansas State did the same thing back to them.
Oh yeah, but
basically 7.5 minutes.
Luckily. This conference game was a non-conference game.
Yeah.
Oh God, it's one of those.
And it's going to be like this again next year for Arizona and Kansas State, and there's going to be another conference game that will be a non-conference game next year. Does anybody know what that game is?
No.
Next year,
North Carolina State, Virginia.
I can't take these. I can't take these conference games that are non-conference.
Don't look at me. I didn't make the rules.
I know. I can't handle this.
The ACC told North Carolina State. The ACC told North Carolina State, "Don't go to App State. Here, you can go play Virginia."
No, see, I understood it entirely when North Carolina and Wake Forest decided to do this, because if you're a cross-divisional opponent and you're not a protected rival, you only play them once every 6 years, and that's kind of a rivalry. They're really close to each other, North Carolina and Wake. So I understood why they said, we need to play more often than once every 6 years. But and the fact that these games get scheduled so far out in advance, and all of a sudden the world gets shaken up. Baylor and Utah, did they play a non-conference game?
Yes, they played each other last week as a non-conference game.
Yeah.
I don't get it. I hate those. Don't do that.
I'm all right with anything really, because as long as it's something we can cover, that's all right with me.
Well, I'll tell you this: Ohio State had to replace Washington on the schedule, and I don't know if it was. I think it was they replaced them with Western Michigan. Would you rather see Ohio State Washington as a non-conference game, or Ohio State Western Michigan?
Ohio State Washington, please. Although
I get it. I mean, it's the same thing. There was a bunch of schedule changes done because of transition to different conference. Texas Tech went to Washington State.
We scheduled you as a non-conference opponent, but now since you're in the conference, we're not going to play you. What the fuck?
Oh, I thought he censored himself. I was like, wow. I thought he censored himself.
There. Mute button.
It was just a lag. We can go into that too. I do want to shout out because the talk is you have potentially Tulane, not anymore. They have 2 losses. They're pretty much done as a group of 5, I think, at this point. You saw Boise State. Merrimack doesn't qualify, so sorry, chat. Merrimack does not qualify. Liberty, of course. But exactly, Jackson, as you brought up, can we talk UNLV?
Absolutely.
Could UNLV be the surprise group of 5 team?
Oh, man.
They're the only one. They're the only team in the country with 2 power conference wins.
And
UNLV for the 6th time in school history is 3-0. This first time in the 21st century. First time since 1984, they finished 13-0, but that year they had a lot of ineligible players playing, so their season they had to vacate those wins. So basically,
I am stunned to hear a school in Vegas would have ineligible players in the 80s. What could they have been doing?
So, like
what could they have been doing on the Strip to get themselves in trouble there?
In 1984, they were playing ineligible players.
It's a good point here by Dale. Dale here. Yeah, Memphis is 3-0, so that is fair.
But it's the fair.
But UNLV, I think, has better wins. Memphis, I'm sorry, beating Florida State, which is a dumpster fire, hence the show title. I don't know if that counts, but Memphis is still obviously in the running. To say the
Ocean View Coffee Shop says, I'm surprised UNLV didn't join the Pac-12. Well, that's going to change. I believe that will change because, they need teams like a baby needs milk. I swear. Yeah. That's how much they need teams. We know about the news from Ross Dellinger from Yahoo Sports, where he released the breaking news that happened where Fresno State, Colorado State, Boise State, and
San Diego State
are joining. Now I think they're going to get UNLV and Nevada to be 7-8 because you got to have a top rivalry, and you got to get that TV market of Vegas. And UNLV winning against Kansas on Friday night helps them quite a lot. Now Nevada, they're going to need some of that 2010 magic. That's what Nevada needs. But even so, they're doing fine in basketball, I think. But football, is what really drives the dollars. Because I mean, everybody can say the right thing. No, football doesn't drive the dollars in realignment. Yes, it does. Football always drives the dollars in conference realignment.
It's number one. It's number one.
It's number one, 2, 3. I mean, basketball is so far down the list.
True.
These basketball TV deals are, I mean, they are fractions compared to the money you get on these football deals. So yeah, it is absolutely no question. And I mean, this is going to be the interesting thing with UNLV is that this Pac-12 is basically still just going to be it's going to be the Mountain West essentially. Right?
It's going
to be the Mountain West. You know, I mean, like Oregon State and Washington State were sort of hang-on members of the Pac-12. I mean, they were sort of free riders in that program to begin with. They weren't really pulling their weight as far as like the value and the revenue they brought to the program. Sorry, Clint. Sorry, whoever sends that flag around the country to have it waved on game day.
Yeah.
Sorry. I mean, no disrespect. I didn't go to a prestigious school either. I mean, we don't even have a football program, but I mean, like, facts are the facts. I mean, there's a reason why Oregon State and Washington State are in the predicament they are, because they were kind of glorified G5 schools as they were. And
I mean, they kept voting in. They were two of many schools that were voting in for Larry Scott to stay on as the commissioner.
Right. That is something. Yeah, Memphis going in. Memphis. I mean, yeah. I wonder if they will or if they won't, because I actually don't know if this is. I mean, obviously finances are going to play a big deal, but is this Pac-12? Is this Pac or what Pac whatever it's going to be? Jackson, I'm sorry. Is this Pac conference an upgrade over the AAC right now? Is this?
That's a good question. If they actually rounded out all the teams, then we could take a look after the season.
Yeah,
I think honestly, it's not, at least in my opinion. But at the same time, the new Pac-12, it's like a mix-in of the WAC after BYU, Utah, TCU. No, not TCU. After BYU and Utah left the WAC, after TCU left it, because like the Mount West was formed, the Conference USA needed teams. And then we saw Boise State leaving after 2010. That really hurt the WAC. And, you know, anybody remember the 2012 season where there was Louisiana Tech, San Jose State? They were basically competing. There was no Nevada, Fresno State, or Hawaii in that league. Like, to me, it feels like the 2012 season of the WAC and the Big East from 2005 to 2012.
I think we'll need to see more data. But I mean, the one thing with the Pac before was you could have gone Boise, but they never wanted to do it because of the academics, you know, whatever.
And don't count Cal and Stanford out for returning to the Pac.
That's too. I've heard that kind of rumor potentially that Cal and Stanford.
They don't want a lawsuit. I
know, but I've heard that rumor too, where they might actually consider going back.
ACC cares.
I don't think they do.
No. The ACC is definitely going to enforce that grant of rights on them for sure. There's no question. They're not going to let them leave.
They could bypass that by saying give the money to SMU, who's doing it for free. So they could come to some agreement to a degree.
I'm not saying they don't have any leverage, but they can't just be like, you know what, we had our fun with you guys. It was cool.
I wouldn't be surprised. It is an interesting theory of maybe even a year goes by and then they start looking into the details of how to get out of it and stuff. You know, that would be interesting. I mean, you should have never joined the ACC ACC to begin with. I'm like ACC. Yeah, ACC.
Yeah,
you should never join them anyways.
You're on the wrong channel. That's the other stream.
I think honestly they should just They should have stayed in the pack. Honestly, that they should have done that. They shouldn't have just thrown the baby out with the bathwater by joining the ACC.
No, they had absolutely no choice. There was no those schools, especially also carrying a fair amount of debt. They really needed a place with a really good television deal. It would have made no sense. They absolutely had to do what they did what they had to do. There's no way they could have just spurned the ACC off.
They did the same thing everyone else did. They did what they had to do. And Mark asked a good question here because why not? We're on the Golden Bears. Let's talk about Cal. Cal has been looking pretty good, but this is kind of the recipe Cal does every year. They have those few games where they look really good, and then they fall apart.
True.
They did go to Auburn, took down Auburn. Auburn's not the greatest team, but they did it on the road in a hostile.
Yeah, but that was with Peyton Thorne at quarterback. So you're going to take down anybody with Peyton Thorne.
Alabama barely did last year.
Well,
Michigan couldn't do it. So I think they did beat them once. But
Justin Wilcox is just an inconsistent coach overall. That's all that we see. Me and Spaz can sit here and say we love Justin Wilcox, but for instance, when they wanted to look at him, they interviewed him to hire him as the coach. We were like, God, no, please do not hire Justin Wilcox. Cal, he's been good at Cal for Cal standards of what they want. He looks like they have got the team going this year. I still need more data though, because Auburn is not a good team.
Yeah,
it was a good win.
It seems like Cal is definitely one of those programs where if it was mismanaged, if they hired a bad coach, it could get really, really, really ugly there. Like they could be like a 1-win-a-year team.
Wait, shut up. Spaz called for timeout. That means you shut up. I don't know if that's a segment of the show, but Spaz called for timeout.
Somebody just said that Mark dropped an F-bomb on his show last night.
Yeah, I'm hearing it's from at the very end.
What?
Yeah.
I hope he asked for forgiveness in church this morning, where I'm sure he was.
Oh, that's why the earth stopped for a little bit.
Is that what happened last night?
Yeah, that was that vibration. That was why I flew out of my room.
Is that why I fell down the stairs last night drunk and fucked up my knee? Is that why? It was Mark's F-bomb felt around the world. Is that what happened?
Oh, yeah.
Must be.
I have an answer.
Mark was arguing with Tim Prangley.
Shocking that Tim and Mark would argue about something.
No.
Yeah, shocking.
Crazy USC fan.
Yeah, shocking. I'm surprised.
Oh, well, that'll do it to you.
Yeah.
I'm sure Mark was putting Tim in his place, and Tim wouldn't listen to
Tim's
it.
Probably rambling that USC is going to go undefeated now. They got through the tough part of their schedule.
Yeah, and Mark probably made the point we did about the There you go.
Mark doesn't cuss usually, but when he does, it's memorable.
Oh yeah, I've been kicked off Mark's show way back when. It was funny because when I went on one of the shows, the call-ins at the very end of the stream, and I was like, I fucking got on. He's like, he hung up and he's like, knucklehead. And that's where the knucklehead thing kind of came from with the whole, if we say, join us knuckleheads. It was that because I swore and he kicked me off the phone. Then a few months later, I got the show to do this in Oregon Channel. And then since then, he just kind of stopped caring. For the most part, he's been very relaxed.
Oh man, like the
I feel like how high of standards can you be having if you're hosting a call-in college football show? Here, I mean, like, what would you expect us to come on and talk like Milton Friedman or something like that? I mean, what the hell? Yes, it's gonna be a bit of a rough and rowdy audience. And we all love you for it. You guys are all, everyone here watching us, you're all degenerates and dirtbags and scums of the earth, and so are all of us. And we all absolutely love you for it. We don't want you any other way. We would never have it.
What?
Bob, yeah. Fucking
What?
Ohio State scumbags.
No.
But yeah, somebody said it was after like Chris Foot. Oh yeah, that'll do it to you. That'll cause anybody to have.
Oh yeah.
Excuse me. I'm telling you, damn it. See, now y'all got me going. But I'm telling you what, Ben's seen it. Ben's been there on some of the spaces, but I don't know if Jackson has. I tell you, some of these spaces that I go in with some of these Ohio State guys, I mean, I get it. There's a point of being a homer and being, but like with me and Ben, we're when our team is dog shit, like the first couple of weeks, we were like, this team ain't gonna win no natty playing like this. They ain't gonna be sniffing a natty playing like this. We're very equal, very even. Our teams, but on some of them Ohio State spaces, those guys are jock riding so hard, it's unreal. Some of those guys on Twitter spaces is just
that's why I don't get into spaces fast. That's why I don't go into them.
But they get 300, 400, 500 people on their spaces.
Yeah, the last spaces Ben went into, he got a restraining order from, so
A virtual restraining order.
Oh, there it is. Oh man, I found it. I found that. I was like, oh, man, that's gonna be a clip. That we can make a TikTok clip out of it, man.
You know what? I have to step away for a quick second, but I figure I'll let Jackson do the talking for himself and for Jeffrey because he's not here. What about those Hoosiers, huh?
Who's your daddy?
Look at that. UCLA, embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing, UCLA.
But no, in all seriousness, so that was a great game, what we saw from Indiana.
No, it's a great game.
42-13, Indiana, UCLA's Big Ten debut at home, and
Where's our man Jeffrey? He's got a.
This is why he's not here. This is why he's not here. Well, no, he should be here because he's not UCLA. Never mind. You know what? I'm just gonna step away.
He's got a channel to plug. Jackson, do you have the necessary information to plug Jeffrey's?
I can't find the Indiana channel link, but I'm sure I'll find it at some point. I don't know if it's going to be on the Voice of College Football or
get
if it's
in here, you big clown. You're the biggest one of all. Come on, Dimmy.
Hold on. Let me find it. Dadgummit. But anyway, so what I'm going to have pulled up is the Indiana football schedule. Okay. And as we know, they got those huge wins over Florida International, Western Illinois. Not convinced, right? But there's that huge win from UCLA last night. What are your takeaways from UCLA, the victory over UCLA, gentlemen?
UCLA is extreme trash.
That's a nice way of putting it. I mean, because they pretty much are. I mean, it was a dung heap. The way it was awful. The way that whole Chip Kelly situation was handled. They should have fired him the day after they lost a cow like that, 36-7. But they were like flip-flopping around. Oh, he's going to return next year. Oh, he's going to be back. But then
it is something. I mean, like those first two games, FIU is terrible almost every year. Western Illinois, it's a joke that any FBS program would ever schedule them. I mean, like it's just they're not like a regular. They're like what would say like the UMass of the FCS. I mean, they are like that bad. They haven't won a game in 3 years.
Yeah.
So I mean, like what are you going to take from beating them 77-3?
True. Well,
I mean, but you know what? I mean, like, there's just a lot of energy, a lot of excitement around the program. Everyone's. I think the program is completely bought into the Kirk Signetti message. So I think they could have a really nice year this year. I mean, like, if you keep scrolling up, like the next 3 games, all very winnable. They could be undefeated. They could be 6-0, like very, very easily. They should win next week. Maryland, I think that's kind of a toss-up. Northwestern, kind of a toss-up. If they're a little bit better than I think they are, then they should probably win both of those games and be undefeated going to Lincoln. That could be an undefeated mid-October game.
Yeah, I was just going to say that could be both teams could be undefeated going into that game.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's a realistic. It's based for me. It's a realistic likelihood that we're going to see Indiana 6-0. That's not a possibility. That's a likelihood. After what we saw last night against UCLA on NBC or on the Peacock app, that was huge. What we saw from the Hoosiers.
Then the next 5 games after that, oh my God!
I do.
Your schedule is no favors at all done.
Well, I don't know. I mean, like you've got Ohio State. That's obviously like a beastly matchup.
Yeah,
I mean, Michigan. We'll see what they are at that point in the season. I mean, if Indiana and Michigan played in Bloomington this week, I think there'd be a lot of people actually picking Indiana to win that game. I would be one of them, but you know, and. Like, I mean, he you know, you can ride just some sort of like positive energy, positive momentum through a season like this, through a fairly weak schedule. Like you can have kind of a special season just on vibes alone sometimes. So you know, everyone loves Kirk Signetti.
Oh, dude's a genius. He's a mad genius.
Yeah. The guy has brought a level of energy to that program that we haven't seen in a while. So, really ever in my life. So,
and the next game the next team we got to talk about is another Big Ten shocker. Does anybody know who that is?
A Big Ten shocker from this week?
You know, under their brand new coach,
Jonathan Smith, Sparty.
Very good, yes, sir.
Yeah,
Sparty. With Jonathan Smith and Aiden Childs, former Oregon State walk-on, they're 3-0. Nobody expected it. Could they be ranked next week?
If they beat BC in Chestnut Hill, then yeah, I totally think they could. Mm-hmm.
That's a toughie right there. That's a toughie.
Yeah, I mean, I would say probably not, but it's possible for sure. They could be ranked going into that showdown with Ohio State next week.
Accurate quarterback in throwing, but he's a very mobile quarterback. He can get out of the box.
He's very dangerous too. Like he's got a big arm. He can throw it all over the place. Like and he kind of plays like sandlot football. He kind of reminds me of Manziel or something out there. Like it's just like okay, whatever.
But he's got the arm and the wheels.
Right, yeah. Whatever play was called there, as soon as the ball is snapped, doesn't really matter. Just throw it around the world. Just throw around and make something happen.
He shows a lot of confidence in his teammates. That's what I love about Aiden Childs, is that even when people are looking at him like he's got 2 heads on his body, he shows a lot of confidence in his teammates. He doesn't complain about them. He's unselfish. He's hyping them up, propping them up to everybody that he sees and meets and greets with. That's what I love about Aiden Childs. Like, he's a guy that you want to play with. And I think our friend Shador Sanders could learn a thing or two from Aiden Childs. Yeah, because like Like anybody watch Gunsmoke? Raise your hand.
I mean, I watched it when I was a kid for a
there's
little
like
bit.
an epic.
It was on TV.
You know, like
it was on TV.
the sheriff on Dukes of Hazzard. Well, he plays like a spoiled brat, like he's like a rancher's son in this Gunsmoke episode, and he has like this attitude of I can act however I want when I want. But then when he faces the consequences, he's blubbering like a baby, throwing a fit. He's begging for daddy to bail him out. You gotta get me out of here.
So this is a Shador
that's
spiel.
Shador Sanders in a nutshell.
I was worried that was where this was going here.
Mm-hmm. That's my point. He's
Matt
like
Dillon, Matt Masterson. Yep.
Matt. Back when the West was very young. There was a man named Masterson, da, 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 da. He wore a cane and derby hat. They called him Bat Masterson. Dun, 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 dun.
Wow, Jackson. I swear.
Can someone clip that, please?
No shit.
We're gonna need that. We're gonna need that in the future.
Here we go. We'll meet again. Don't know where. Don't know where.
That wasn't a request yet for more Jackson.
Again some sunny day.
What are you guys talking about?
That was great timing for you to just plop right in.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you, 1989 M. I appreciate it. That last song that I was just singing, I heard it from Bill Cipher on Gravity Falls.
Have we discussed the debacle of Wisconsin football for the season?
Unfortunately, we have not yet, and unfortunately, we don't know the status of Tyler Van Dyke. I think we're gonna know a little more about it on Monday, Tuesday. We'll know about how bad the state of the injury is.
It was non-contact, so pretty much when he was going down. So that's not when he was getting tackled. It's his knee. It's not generally a good sign.
No, that's very bad. Usually a non-contact knee injury that tends to come with the tagline "out for the year."
And his backup was not very good. Locke or whatever his name is.
Like Braden Locke. Yeah, I was wondering if he was still there. He came in last year for Tanner Mordecai for a couple games and played okay for them down the stretch. He is still there, I guess. But obviously, bringing in Van Dyke from the portal shows they don't have that much confidence in him to begin with. So.
Pretty much. It was, because with Van Dyke, the game was good at the first quarter. He went out just off the rails. Wisconsin couldn't do anything.
No. I thought the score would be much closer than what we saw yesterday. Because, if anybody tuned in to Monday's edition of Crimson Tide Live, where Johnny Burtz and I had on Locked On Badgers host Ryan Herrings, I said that was going to be a 28-20 game for Alabama. I thought Wisconsin would be bringing a lot of their A game, but I think the Tyler Van Dyke injury just knocked him down quite a lot. I mean, you'd be sad too if your starting quarterback got hurt. And yeah, it was just insane what happened. But I did enjoy seeing the jump around. Like everybody was doing the jump around at the start of the fourth quarter. That was pretty huge.
They were still doing it at this point. I wasn't able to watch the game real closely, but I did follow the score along, and it was like, oh, Wisconsin's hanging in there. Bama starting to get a little bit of a gap. Oh, Bama's crushing them now.
Yeah,
that was after Van Dyke left.
Yeah, Van Dyke went down.
It was like a 1-score game until like the end of the near the end of the first half, wasn't it? It was like within a touchdown, pretty late.
Yeah, it was something like 14-7 or something like that, or 17-7, something like that.
Oh my fucking god, you guys!
Scuba Z says, unpopular opinion, Luke Fickell is a great coach and an awful fit for Wisconsin. You know, I've been hearing quite a lot about how he's an awful fit at Wisconsin. I think we need to let the second season play out and just wait and see from there. It's not like Billy Napier at Florida, from my view at the very least. But gentlemen, what do you think? Spaz, go first.
I was going ahead of you on this other comment about John Bender and Mark. Sorry, I saw that and you went way down below it. Yeah.
That'd be a great idea. I like it.
Mark being the heel commentator, that would be just put the leather jacket on and I could see it.
Oh, we can get him dressed like Elvis. That'd be cool.
No, he's got to be the John Bender with the slick back hair.
Well, I got my Wooderson shirt from Dazed and Confused. So, I could dress up as Wooderson. So. What, you don't like Matthew McConaughey, Ben?
Oh, God.
It'd be a lot cooler if you did.
Hook 'em on.
Spaz, what are your thoughts on the Wisconsin game? Come on.
That was terrible. Once Van Dyke went down and grabbed his knee and went off on the card, I was like, yep, season's over for Wisconsin. There's another one checked off. Don't have to worry about that one. And then Notre Dame slaughtered Purdue. I'm like, yep, check that one off. Don't have to worry about those two games.
Does Oregon play Wisconsin this year?
Yes, on November 16th.
Okay, late season game.
It's gonna
where is that game? Where is that game?
At Wisconsin.
Okay, that makes any game against Wisconsin like 100 times tougher. That is maybe the best home field advantage in the Big Ten. But no, I'm as big a Luke Fickell fan as there is, and I still think he's going to end up being successful at Wisconsin, come hook or crook. But it's not. It hasn't gotten off to the greatest start, and
it's the largest.
He had a better first season, I will say, at Wisconsin than he did at Cincinnati, and. At this point in his career at Cincinnati, I don't think, a couple games into his second season, a lot of people were expecting him to end up being a special coach there either. But, it's they haven't made the kind of progress that I was expecting at this point, so, and you got to give credit where credit is due. It is Alabama still. I don't care if Saban's there or not. Those are Saban players. This is, they've had Saban recruiting classes, and Kalen DeBoer's a really good coach himself. So, that's a buzzsaw anybody's going to struggle with in that moment. But the games honestly, the games against Western Michigan and South Dakota are more concerning for me. And Van Dyke played the whole games in both of those situations. So,
yeah. Oh, I was going to say for Alabama, Wisconsin. So Wisconsin lost 42-10 yesterday, right? So what was the largest loss at home prior to yesterday for Wisconsin? Anybody can guess. Anybody in the chat?
Prior to this, are we going back to the pre-Alvarez days? Barry Alvarez?
No. We're going back to Brett Bielema.
Oh, wow. So somebody beat them at home by more than 32 points under Bielema?
Mm-hmm.
I'm almost certain it wasn't Ohio State. Was it? No, there's no way.
It must have been one of his first couple of years, too.
I'll give you a hint. It was year 3.
Year 3, okay.
So that would have been like 09-ish? 09?
That was his 4th year.
Okay, so Someone beat. They had some pretty good teams at that. That was like the John Clay. Was Scott Tolzino quarterback?
Actually, it was Penn. Actually, Penn State won 48-7 on October 11th, 2008.
You said it was 48-7, so it was 41 points.
Yeah, I remember Ohio State played Wisconsin on October 4th. That was on ABC that week. And it was rare that Brent Musburger and Kirk Herbstreit didn't broadcast on Saturday Night Football that week because they were broadcasting Vanderbilt Auburn on ESPN. Now, usually, if you weren't seeing Brent Musburger and Kirk Herbstreit broadcasting Saturday Night Football on ABC, they were broadcasting it on ESPN Saturday night, week 2, because there was a NASCAR race. That was at the time where NASCAR had that TV contract with the ESPN.
Okay, but I'm more curious. They were broadcasting a Vanderbilt Auburn game over Ohio State, Wisconsin.
Vanderbilt was unbeaten in college football at that time, and College Game Day was in Nashville, Tennessee at that week.
Wow. Little did Kirk know that would be his future home.
Yep,
after lunatic Buckeye fans drove him out of Columbus.
True, but a little known fact that we saw from Kalen DeBoer was that he is the first Alabama coach, the first Alabama first-year head coach to lead his teams to have his teams score 30-plus points in their first 3 games and win them. The last coach prior to that was Frank Thomas in 1931. That's not even something Bear Bryant or Nick Saban could do.
Spaz, what are you doing in the chat? What are you doing?
I'm just
Spaz is trying to rile up Tim.
Speaking
of though, it's a good point though, because obviously USC hates Oregon, Oregon hates USC. This week, in what was the Pac-12 rivalries, we had a reinstatement, non-conference wise, of the Apple Cup, where the Cougars took down the mighty Huskies in glorious fashion on 4th and goal at like the 2-yard line and stopped them. It was a good game.
Yep.
It was. I didn't get to watch it. I couldn't find it anywhere to watch.
It was on Peacock. It was on Peacock.
Oh yeah, that's why I didn't watch it because
watched it. I was watching that game on my iPad, and I was watching Pitt, West Virginia, and flipping between that and Texas A&M, Florida, and Notre Dame, Purdue. Watched a little bit of Oregon State.
Oh well, the Washington State, very good game, very very good game.
Yeah, that's why I'm like, if you got the Peacock app, do not be turning off the Peacock app because there's always some good games on there. I mean, we saw that with Oregon beat Boise State in week 2, and we saw that with Washington State, and my God, that was a humongous stop by Washington State against Washington.
The look on Jed Fish's face on that play call. It was like a read pitch option, it's like run. It
was a speed option to the north side of the field.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Jed Fish is a good coach.
Put Tim's comment back up there because
let's pull it up. Don't forget, everyone, check out Tim Prangley on Tuesday night as he and Matt Zimick and Mark Rogers bring you the latest news and notes on the USC Trojans right here on USC at the Voice College Football for Trojans Conquest. Stay tuned.
Yeah, because they keep changing. They can't pick one night and stick to it, so they have to keep changing their nights.
I think.
They have their therapy sessions and urgency meetings.
I think the clouds are capable of riling Tim up. I think he could get riled up at the sound of a baby laughing. I mean, like this is Tim. You're not Tim. We all love you here. We all appreciate you, but you're not exactly like the most. You're not exactly Phil Ivey here. You're not exactly like the least provocable human being. And we all love you for
it. That Tim Prangley and Phil Ivey.
Well, let's talk
that is a great contrast of human beings. If I've ever seen it.
While we're talking about it, since we did the Apple Cup quick, we can briefly touch upon it because the Civil War once again happened just in September, oddly enough, and hey, the Ducks are back, baby. At least in that game.
So how about this? You guys play 10 quarters of completely mediocre football, and now you go and take care of business for one half, and now I'm supposed to be like completely blown away.
Oh no, that was a full game. That was a full game.
That was a full game.
You were up by a touchdown at halftime against a poverty program that lost half its roster.
Remember, look at how many possessions there were in that entire first half. You know,
the only
points,
reason
you were up 8 points at half, 22-14. Second half shut them out completely. Oregon never punted, even in that game.
No, I mean,
the point is,
pretty much every time we had the ball,
they did what they wanted to do, and special teams once again blocked the field goal. So special teams still came up and fucking did shit. So. It's the O-line apparently has been adjusted enough where at least it works. Let's put it that way. That was the whole problem the first two games. Really was the O-line. The O-line was just awful. We don't deny that.
Yeah. Well, and I remember where Jake Dickard, when he was getting interviewed, at the end, after the end of the game, he was like, "There's going to be a party in the Palouse."
Oh, yes. Washington State was probably going to be like, "Yeah."
There we go. Yeah, they're partying tonight. They're partying like kitty cats in the night.
Hey, we don't take anything. We're going to take every positive we can this season. All right.
Absolutely.
You watch your ass keep chopping.
Well,
take the positive we can right now. It's been a rough first two games, and this one was great. Yeah.
Well, I want to go back to Kansas for a little bit. I know that they lost to UNLV. A lot of people say, "Oh, they're back to old Kansas." Well, I wouldn't say that because, let me ask you, gentlemen, do you remember Utah starting out 1-2 in 2021? Where they lost in overtime against San Diego State, and their winning streak against BYU ended, and it was nothing but a complete disaster in Salt Lake City. Life is over. They're never going to be in the playoffs. But there's one thing: conference title is still in play, and they remember that.
That's all that matters in that league. That's all. I mean, like. Really, in the ACC and the Big 12, how you perform out of conference almost makes no difference because you're very unlikely to get an at-large bid coming out of those leagues anyway. So it's yeah, you know what? You drop a couple games, and I mean, Lance Leipold's a really good coach. They've got some nice skill talent. I mean, they have a salvageable season for sure. And I mean, I had this a conversation on Twitter with Matthew Miller about this. There are some things concerning. They don't look like as disciplined, as focused of an organization as K-State or Utah at the moment.
Well, again, too, when we were talking about
orange juice, Doritos tonight. And thought it would taste good. And is there a punchline here? I don't.
No, it just means you have bad taste. That's all it is.
Okay.
He is a friend of college football, and he is and he has his own channel called Only Talk Sports. He is the host of a new show called Hoosiers Live. He is Only Talk Sports, where he talks sports every day.
He's also only like 14, so everyone.
Nah, he's
we still going with that joke, Ben.
When did he end?
He's 16.
Jeffrey, you need to grow a beard out or something so that you can put that to rest, or at least show up wearing a fake one. Like get a makeup artist.
The fake one will look goofy though, man.
Scribble some scruff in there, so you can.
Talking Kansas quickly too. Remember, we talked Group of 5 team. Remember, UNLV could come out of the season as the undefeated Group of 5 team. So that actually is not going to look like necessarily a bad loss because it was close.
Oh yeah,
UNLV could just be that surprise team this year.
No, I mean, like Kansas is still a pretty good team. I think. I mean, that's not. They've just got. They just suffered a little bit of a setback, and now you get into conference play, which is the only thing that matters. It's all that matters as a Big 12 team. If you win this league, which is purely objective, nothing you've done so far counts for or against you. You're in, right. and you get a bye in the playoffs too. So.
Until you've had Wazoo fans staring at you, blue ribbon and jello shots, you get to live.
Well, and
it's true. That is probably true.
Well, we're looking at this schedule, right? There's no Utah. There's no Oklahoma State. I mean, you got to worry about K-State, Iowa State, but that's pretty much it.
Mm-hmm. And that's interesting. They are playing Iowa State at Arrowhead. That's a good choice. I love that neutral site matchup. That's a really good one.
Yeah, and I think it's the stadium situation in Kansas that it should be fixed by next year.
Yeah, because every single game they're playing in Arrowhead Stadium.
They're home. I didn't hear about this at all. Kansas is playing their home games at Arrowhead this year.
Yes, they're trying to make their stadium a lot bigger or whatever. They're renovating it and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, I get Northwestern's in the same predicament this year. They don't have a home field. I didn't know Kansas was like that, but
well, their first 2 home games were in the Children's Mercy Park, which is a major league soccer team in Kansas. I forget their name.
Yeah, is it Kansas City FC? And that's actually that's in KCK. That's Kansas City, Kansas. Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that Kansas playing in the Arrowhead Stadium can give them a little bit of confidence. Maybe it can be a bit of a confidence booster because, after all, it is a home stadium for the Kansas City Chiefs. So maybe that can get it going, honestly.
I will say for Kansas, they need Jalen Daniels to get back on track. He does not look like the same quarterback from the past 2 seasons. I really wonder if the injuries have caught up with him. I hope not because he's really good. But he has not looked like himself this season.
Yeah, you make a great point, Jeffrey, because he has thrown 6 interceptions thus far this season. That is not a good stat to be having. I think maybe it's all those injuries he's recovering from, to be honest. I mean, he's 14th in the conference in passing yards with 442 passing yards, and he's only thrown 3 touchdowns. That is not a stat to have.
I mean, to be honest, if Jalen Daniels had not have turned the ball over as often as he has so far this season, they'd be 3-0. I mean, They really should be 3-0. They're not a bad football team, but Jalen Daniels just isn't playing as well as he was before, and their offense doesn't look as good either. The new OC is not getting it done. The offense looks more boring, a lot more bland than it did last year and the year before that when they would mix things up a lot. It's just too vanilla. I think Jalen Daniels kind of feeds off more of an exciting offense. They just aren't looking that good, and if they continue down the road that they are, they're not going to have a good season. But they still have the pieces to be decent, but they got to get Jalen Daniels back going.
Yeah, because if they don't, they could slip up against West Virginia next week, and you got Arizona State later on. So, I mean, they could slip up in that game.
It's not an easy schedule.
No, And Kansas
Big
State.
12, anyway.
It's pretty manageable. You don't have Oklahoma State. You don't have Utah on it. I mean, that's fairly generous as far as a Big 12 schedule goes. But yeah, I've mentioned several times on here, the Big 12 is like the flattest conference I've ever seen. Like, I just like you pick a random matchup, and I bet the spread is no more than 5 points.
Except if you're playing like Cincinnati or something. Or Houston.
Houston's pretty bad. Cincinnati's, they're not good, but
Scott Satterfield.
They're capable of being. Yeah. Yeah. So, we did have the backyard brawl yesterday. Do we want to bring that up?
Yeah,
that was one of the best games of the week this year.
Yeah.
Game in the
Which
nation.
shockingly, I didn't watch. That was the one game I did not watch a highlight of or anything like that.
Oh, yeah, that was.
Yeah. And Kansas, they're going to have to get things going. And I think we will get to West Virginia in a little bit because I got to tell you, that was a disaster, if you know what I mean. But we'll get to TCU Central Florida because they blew it against Central Florida.
I'm assuming you guys already talked about Florida State, right?
The title of the show.
I know. I mean, that I really wanted to talk about Florida State.
We can. You know what? Fuck it. We can go back to Florida State real quick after the UCF talk because UCF. Good win for UCF.
Smash Florida State. We already all have.
Wait. Who did UCF play? I'm completely lost in UCF.
They played some teams like Georgia Tech, Boston College, and Memphis, but that's pretty much it.
No, but UCF.
UCF.
Oh, Central Florida.
Sean just disconnected himself.
Yep. Yeah, Central Florida, they played TCU this week, and they played New Hampshire and Sam Houston.
Okay.
I'm glad I picked UCF. They got it done. Gus Malzahn typically blows games like that. I will give you that, Jackson. He's not super reliable, but they got it done this time.
Yeah, it wasn't pretty, but he won. But they won by like 3, I believe.
It's 35-34. It was a 1-point game.
Oh, it was a 1-point game. Okay, I was like, I know it was very close. I was going to say 36-33, but I was like, the point is, not great, but a win is a win, you know.
Yeah, because like Central Florida, they weren't even the favorite in that game, and one thing they had going for them was nobody was even talking about them. Did anybody really think about Central Florida this week? Let's be real. In chat,
no, I didn't know the result of their game.
Central Florida on your radar? Was Central Florida on your radar? Everybody. Was Central Florida?
No, of course not.
Exactly. That's where Gus Malzahn thrives, is when they're not on anybody's radar. Nobody talks about the Golden Knights. It has been this way his whole coaching career. We've seen this with Auburn, especially in 2017. Nobody thought about Auburn beating Georgia. They were thinking, Malzahn's going to get fired. They should have hired Kirby Smart. They made a catastrophic mistake at Auburn. But what does Auburn do? They upset the Georgia Bulldogs. Then 2 weeks later, they defeat the Alabama Crimson Tide, beat them by double digits. Last season with Central Florida, nobody had them on their radar against Oklahoma. They almost upset the Sooners. And, of course, they smacked Oklahoma State the week after the last.
That Oklahoma State result last year was one of the most random games that I've ever seen. I literally didn't see the game. I didn't know that, I didn't even know what time the game was, barely. I just literally, at the end of it was at 10 o'clock, and I'm looking up all the scores, and I see
45-3.
I'm like, okay.
Well, I can tell you
that
now,
was Oklahoma State last year, though, more than anything.
Well, that's the thing, though, because Central Florida, again, last night, they thrived when no one was really thinking about them or watching them. All eyes were on Georgia, Kentucky. I mean, nobody had their eyes on Central Florida. Nobody in the state of Florida was thinking about them. They were thinking more about Florida State. That's the thing about Central Florida is they do well when nobody thinks about them.
They still should have lost the game, though.
Agreed.
I will say that.
Agreed. And I can't help but feel like that 2022 shine for Sonny Dykes is wearing off completely. Are we ready to say
it's
that?
the same as Mike Norvell's shine? It's
Is,
all gone.
is this? But I mean, is it? Are we ready to say that was the flukiest run in the history of college football, and it will never be matched ever? That TCU 2022 run. I mean, that's gotta be.
They had good players. That's the thing.
They were 5-7 the year before. They went 5-7 the year afterward. I mean, like, and they won every game that year. It seemed by like a miracle. But also, they won so many games on controversial calls
and also remember, I mean, with Dykes and Riley as the OC, they didn't have Duggar as the starting quarterback. No. If he didn't get injured in that first game and Duggar took over, would they have had the same run? It was like a miracle situation, kind of magical situation that just kind of came to be because he wasn't the starting fucking quarterback. He just had to take over due to an injury, and then off they went.
And then they get to the playoffs, and they play a team that was only there because somebody stole everyone's signs, and some reason they didn't steal the signs of them before they played them. So,
but wasn't Max Duggan like the starting quarterback for TCU for very brief? But then he had like a heart condition or something.
Brief, but he wasn't that year. That year he was not until
I agree with
that Colorado game and the starter went out.
He had started quite a few games for them before.
Yeah, he had like a heart condition. The point is, he was not the starter. It was just due to an injury. He was inserted back as the starter and never let go. It was like a magical situation.
Absolutely, I just remember him starting prior to that a season ago. Yeah.
It was just one of those weird situations. Everything just fell into place just perfectly. It was just kind of a bizarre thing that happened. I mean, no matter what happened in the title game overall, you can't discredit TCU. Still did what they did, no matter what. I mean,
I kind of feel like Sonny Dykes at TCU is like the college football equivalent of John Gruden at the Buccaneers. For me, it kind of feels that way because like John Gruden at Tampa Bay won a Super Bowl's first year. After that, the Buccaneers didn't do anything that much.
If Sonny Dykes had won the title, then that would be the most perfect comparison ever.
Or even the Big 12, at least the Big 12 title, which of course they lost to K-State.
Yeah, on a goal line stand.
Yeah.
You're right. Ridiculous. You're right. I think it's more like Larry Coker at Miami because it's that Larry Coker did a little better. Which I mean, any coach, a janitor, could have won with all that talent at Miami.
Yeah, and Spaz and I know specifically. The teams have played against people like Sonny Dykes. Oregon's played against Sonny Dykes. His teams can be good or really bad.
Yeah,
he's kind of an up and down coach. He coached at Cal, and he had Jared Goff, for instance.
But even when they had Jared Goff, they didn't win a ton. Like
exactly.
Cal was a lot better with Aaron Rodgers than they were with Jared Goff. They were
barely. Cal was a much better program back then under Jeff Tedford. Like they were a real team back in the mid 2000s.
The point is they had Jared Goff. They've had like a Davis Webb under Sonny Dykes.
Yeah,
they were very up and down. Like that team would score a lot of points, but they had zero defense.
It was fun games, though.
Yeah. It was really
I remember.
It was kind of like Mike Leach at Washington State, to be honest.
Yeah, I remember Ohio State went out to Strawberry Field when Sonny Dykes was coach. I believe it was 2013.
Yep.
I mean,
September 14th, 2013.
I mean, and we didn't even we were playing our backup quarterback, Kenny Guyton, in that game, and he they could have scored about 80 on them if they really, really tried. They were up like 28-0 in the first 10 minutes of the game there, and then Jared Goff put up who was a freshman, I think, in that game, true freshman, played a really good game, and I think Cal ended up scoring like 31 points or something, but still got blown out. It was like 77-31 or something like that at the end. It was, yeah.
Cal
Crazy.
has been like that since Tedford, really, where they haven't had a good coach that focuses on one or overall. They always either focus defense or offense. They can't seem to find the mix. And Will Cox is more defense, but now funny, his teams are more offense than defense all of a sudden. In the last couple of years, he's changed like his mindset.
Did you guys see the viral video?
You need to be good on both sides of the ball.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's kind of weird. I don't know what's going on with him, but
and
did you guys see the viral video with Wilcox yesterday? It went viral today, grabbing the referee's mic and asking the students to stop throwing cards onto the field because Cal had gotten penalized like 3 times.
I gotta look that up.
I didn't see that either.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that's gonna be fun, man. Seeing what Cal's doing against Florida State next week.
Oh God.
What about Vanderbilt?
I think Cal wins that game.
Vanderbilt, Jesus! Now you want to go Vanderbilt?
You know, Georgia State. It's the second
Jeffrey,
time.
you are dropping our viewer.
I was responding to Tony's comment. He said Cal's the hardest place to recruit.
No. The hardest one, without question, without a doubt, is Stanford. It's not close.
A little bit, but as soon as you say I want to talk Vanderbilt, our viewers dropped in half.
I didn't say I wanted to talk about Vanderbilt. I'm saying Vanderbilt is one of the hardest to recruit in the nation.
It is.
We can talk about Vanderbilt later on.
Legitimately, the school.
Jeffrey's a special case for you out there in the chat. Jeffrey's a special case. We took him on as a project. It's okay. He'll be 18 next year. It's okay.
It's 4 years.
Literally,
give me a compliment there.
Literally, Stanford makes students go through the admissions process, which is very, very laborious and very detailed, before their coaches are allowed to offer them scholarships. So, like someone's got to be very committed and very, very much want to go to Stanford and be qualified to go to Stanford before they can actually.
Stanford, you have to be kind of at the top of the top. I mean, let's get it that way. I mean, an athlete, you might get a little, okay, you're fine because you're going to play for the football team, but you still have to be
like, as long as you're like at least close to 4.0.
As long as you still get a 32 on your ACT. And
you got to be top notch. I mean, no matter what.
I mean,
Jeffrey,
like 75% of people can't even achieve that.
Jeffrey, since you're here, I do want to say, as Roger Dodger brought up, we already talked about it, but I'm going to let you do it too because you're the guy. What about those Hoosiers?
Who's your daddy, UCLA?
That was embarrassing. That was embarrassing for your Sean Foster.
Well, I will say that it was exciting for Indiana. I mean, that the fact that it was their first ever win in the Rose Bowl, ever, like of all time, because they only been in there once, and they lost to O.J. Simpson-led USC back in 1968. And I wouldn't say close game, but they competed in that one.
Did they get killed that night?
Oh, it was like 13-3. It was close. It wasn't that bad. But Indiana finally getting a win in the Rose Bowl, and it was their biggest road win in the Big Ten since 2001, when they beat Wisconsin 62-31 on the road back in 2001. That was the final season of Antoine Randall L. at Indiana when they went 5-6, and which I still don't know why they didn't play 12 games that year. College football is kind of weird with that back then, where some teams only played 11 games. But
no, that was standard to play 11 back then. It was a 3-9 conference. I think it went to like 12 in like 2005 or 6, around that point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so I mean, it was a great game for Indiana fans. I know a lot of people say there's not a lot of them, but it seems like they're
There are more now.
Higher in number. Some of them bandwagon fans are already starting a little bit, which I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't really want bandwagon fans. You want to be there from the beginning, but it's still a big deal though for Indiana to get a win like that because no one was expecting them to win by that much. They were favored by 3, and they won by 29. And they could have won by more. There were some bad calls in that game that actually helped UCLA keep it closer than it was. I mean, Indiana just destroyed them. And I wasn't expecting that. Do I think Indiana's going to win 9 or 10 games like some people are saying? No, I don't. But Indiana is a significantly better team than they were last year. If this was Tom Allen, they probably don't even win the game or they squeak it out somehow. Because UCLA's bad, don't get me wrong. Yeah. But it was very impressive for Indiana.
And we were going through, and while Spaz is transfixed by whatever is on his phone right there, I will mention we were talking earlier. We were perusing Indiana's schedule, and they've actually got a very nice conference schedule this year.
Except for the
that Jackson, like there didn't seem to be many games on there that you just forfeit, like no chance.
Yeah, I mean, you got Charlotte up next. I mean, that they should win, right? Like 99% sure they should win. And then Maryland, they haven't looked that good. Northwestern hasn't looked that good. And then you get a bye before Nebraska, which that's huge. If Indiana's somehow undefeated going into that game, that will be a massive game right there. Indiana, Nebraska, if both are undefeated, it'd be insane. Then Washington, they're not looking that great. Michigan State,
that could be a game day game. Indiana, Nebraska.
It could
more like big noon kickoff.
Is that?
That's October 19th. So whatever
week after Oregon, Ohio State. Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure game day is going to be in Eugene.
Yeah, yeah, they will be for that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, you look at this, like, yeah, Washington, very winnable. At MSU, probably. I mean, if you've got a good team, you should be a favorite then. But
Michigan's not looking great.
I would
favor Michigan easily.
I would too.
They're not looking great, so there's a chance. I mean,
hey, Michigan State 3-0 right now. Don't look bad at Sparty right now. They might be. Jonathan Smith is.
He's a really good coach. He's a really good coach, but he's got a lot of work ahead of him still in East Lansing. I'm not convinced that's a great team at the moment, but
I think they might actually win 5 or 6 games now. At the preseason, I think I picked them to only win 3-4 games, maybe. But
we're talking about State or Michigan State or Indiana.
Well, I was going to say, did anybody check out the 2024 edition of the Backyard Brawl yesterday?
I did. I was actually pretty keenly focused on that from like the middle of the third quarter on. Yeah.
Wow.
West Virginia blew that game. They managed that game.
The final 4 minutes of that game. Like, that was horrible. But I will say, an amazing comeback by the Pittsburgh Panthers for the second straight week.
Yeah.
From 2005 to 2023, when Pittsburgh was trailing in the fourth quarter by double digits, they were 0-75. So far this year, they're 2-0.
I'll also say, unfortunately, the dream of West Virginia going 11-1 is not going to happen either.
No.
And if I ever get on a chat with Joey Foster, we can embrace ourselves in our despair. Back to back, seeing our teams blow it against Pitt in the fourth quarter. There are Cincinnati last week, West Virginia this week. That was, I mean, they probably should be 1-2, and they're 3-0.
Yeah, so. Pat Narduzzi needed this. That's all you could say.
Yeah. Tell you what, though, like he is a psycho. He is someone who's sort of embodies that never give up, like just mentality. He's just that's what that probably has something to do with why Pitt's able to fight back in these games.
For sure. And before we get to West Virginia's schedule just a little bit, we got a super chat from IDK James. As Texas X 2007, I'm happy, but I have visions of Leach, rest in peace, and Texas Tech in my head with the #1 ranking. Florida State is trash. Washington 2 for sure.
Florida State is
appreciate super chat
the biggest
contribution
disappointment
to
I've
the
ever
voice.
seen in my life so far this season. That is garbage.
So is he saying he graduated from Texas in 2007? So he was there during the Vince Young era, basically.
Yep. Well, and I was going to say we appreciate the super chat contribution to the Voice of College Football. We appreciate it very much, good sir.
Yeah, that was definitely a good time period to be at Texas if you were there from like 02 to 07.
Oh yeah, I mean that's like peak right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was an insane game watching the backyard brawl. It was pretty fun watching.
That game was not a bore at all. That game was.
The game was back and forth all the whole game. It's why I kept.
And the crowd was absolutely insane.
It's sad the game was on ESPN too. It is sad.
Yeah.
They obviously didn't know what they were doing. Like, at least have it on ESPN. But really, Texas A&M, Florida, and I don't care that they're name brands.
That's the only reason. It's because of the SEC contract with ESPN, because A&M and Florida, like you said, the brands and the ratings. That's
but A&M Florida should have been moved over.
True
to Disney
college football fans like the backyard brawl better.
Exactly, Backyard Brawl should have been on ABC or ESPN.
Yeah. But the fan base is for those programs. It's like, like even in years when some of these programs are trash, like when Notre Dame's not good, when Michigan's not good, they still get these prime television spots because they're because they've got a bazillion fans, and that's You've got two of the three biggest states in the country in there. So
it's just the tradition, the rivalry, the atmosphere of the backyard
brawl.
It's
amazing.
A better game, a bigger deal. You're absolutely right, Sean, with everything you said. I mean, it's just sad that that's what matters, though, when it comes to putting games on TV. I mean, people were trashing the Indiana UCLA game for being on NBC because, it's two teams that no one cares about, basically. I get that. Two basketball schools. I get it.
Yeah, because at the time.
Still, it's it's not a terrible game, though. I mean, even though it ended up being a blowout, but you know what I'm saying? It's just, it's not always about the ratings, man. It's about the aura of the game. I mean, it was a big deal. Indiana first time playing in the Rose Bowl since 1968, UCLA's first Big Ten game. It did have some significance. So I'm glad it was on prime time, even if the game wasn't really that entertaining.
At the time,
care who won.
Yeah, because at the time, I didn't like it being on NBC instead of Washington State. But now it's NBC knew something we didn't. They saw Indiana's. That looks like Indiana can pull it off.
Right. Can we pull Hummus's comment here, because this is a good one.
Oh yeah, I saw that one, Sean.
They should have put. I think they should have put that game on Disney XD or something. Put it on Disney XD. Is it too late to revise TV contracts and put certain games on I don't know, CW, or put it on? I don't know.
Still lobbying for MTV, but I will say that I will
just
say,
have Beavis the Butthead call the game.
I will say that they need to make a Lifetime show or documentary out of Florida.
It's
man.
Beavis.
We do need to spend a good 5 minutes on Florida here. What?
Billy Napier, he's toast. He really is. He is toast.
But what I wonder with Florida is if you take out the Spurrier and the Urban Meyer years, this is like historically just a completely mediocre nothing program.
Oh yeah,
But
they just had a spurt of
But
being good for
Oregon
three.
pre-1998. Hello, and that's the biggest fight we have with everybody, especially USC. Oh well, we've been in this for this long. Yeah,
So, but Florida, if it was its own country, would be like the 19th or 20th highest GDP country in the world. Like this is a major recruiting hotbed, and they just never they just can never get their act together. Like Florida and Florida State. So I basically started watching football in like '95. That's about the time that I was old enough to pay attention to it. I remember like the first 7, 8 years of my life, like that was the biggest game of the year was Florida State. And ever since then, it's been completely erratic. Both programs have been completely erratic. They'll spike for a year or two. If they had, except for Florida under Urban, they were pretty good most of the time. But these schools have all this advantage, all that Florida weather, the resources, that talent.
Players in state, they keep going to Georgia and Alabama. I mean, that's the problem.
And Ohio State and California.
Yeah, explain to me though why Billy Napier did not start DJ Lagway against Texas A&M.
Well, I was talking about this. I was talking about what he did start DJ Lagway against A&M.
I didn't see that. I just saw Graham Mertz had 100 and something yards. I didn't see any of the game because I was watching the Backyard Brawl. I didn't see any of it.
No, DJ Lagway started the game. I don't know.
Why didn't he finish the game? Did he start out bad or something?
Oh, he was bad because he was bad. I mean, they had like 30 yards of offense at halftime. I didn't even know Graham Mertz was cleared to play, but DJ Lagway definitely started that game.
Okay. Well, I guess he's screwed either way because I thought DJ Lagway was his last chance, but it doesn't seem like either's going to be able to do anything.
Mertz started that game. Shit.
I'm not surprised by that. I did not watch this game.
I didn't either, so I don't know. I don't know for sure, honestly. But I just feel like Graham Mertz doesn't give Billy Napier any shot, and DJ Lagway gives him like a 2% chance. But either way, he's done. I mean, at this point, but
it is. We said everyone knew that he needed to start the season like at least like 4-2 and be close losses, and he's already been embarrassed. In 3 weeks in, he's already been absolutely embarrassed
twice.
So it's done.
Well, Marcel Reed took over for Texas A&M for the week because Connor Wigman was hurt.
So you think it's going to be Lane Kiffin, Jackson? You think Lane Kiffin's going to go to Florida? I think he would be insane to go to Florida.
Well, I mean, dude has a big ego. That's the thing about.
He didn't take the Auburn job though.
True, but Florida's a bigger job.
There was a poll out on X earlier today, and it was Lane Kiffin, Jed Fish. I think one of them was Wes Malzahn, and there was 4 of them. And Lane Kiffin garnered like 64% of the vote.
I would say
if one of the choices is Gus Malzahn.
I can see Jed Fish though because
I picked Jed Fish in the vote on the Voice of College Football Twitter poll.
Well, and Jed Fish has moved around enough where he's just kind of waiting for that next spot.
Yeah.
Which, no offense to Jed Fish, I respect Jed Fish. He's a good coach. He is a good coach, but
I just think Lane Kiffin would be absolutely insane to go to Florida after what he's already endured at previous stops. You know, especially USC and the tarmac. I mean, why would you go to Florida? It would just be dumb, right? To me, I understand that, like someone said in chat, that if being a fired college football coach is the best job in America because you get all the money and you don't have to do anything. You didn't earn it. It's great. I get all that, but Lane Kiffin, to me, I mean, he's already making tons at Ole Miss. They gave him a massive extension. He's making tons of money.
He's good.
They're winning. Just stay at Ole Miss. It makes sense. It
really can I say real quickly? Hey, Troy, fuck you.
Okay.
I think Jed Fish is the most common sense pick of these three. I don't think Eli. I think Eli's good at Missouri. He's starting to build it into a consistent team. I don't think you would want to ruin it.
Like you have to see what Eli does this year, because going into last year there was a lot of like clamorings of.
They shouldn't be.
He's becoming more consistent.
There was clamorings of discomfort within the Missouri fan base about Eli.
Well, he was on the hot seat.
Until they did what they did last year. I mean, like, it's just like, and then they had one good year, which Missouri tends to do on occasion.
But let's see why would you want to go to? Why would you? Again, why? I mean, everyone's different. All coaches are different. Why then would you want to go from maybe a good place where you're a stable coach? They love you. You're doing things. You're not in a hot seat. Put yourself in a situation where every coach at Florida has failed.
And also, like, where every game that you play, could be your last. Every game you coach, rather.
You kind of get the drift here. It's. I mean, every coach is different. Some want to always push themselves.
It's different with Billy Napier because he went from Louisiana Lafayette to Florida. He was not making that much. He took a bigger job, was getting paid a lot. Lane Kiffin's already getting paid a ton at Ole Miss. Tons of money. It's a stable situation. It's not a jump like Louisiana Lafayette to Florida.
But here's the thing. Do you really realistically think you can build a true national power at Ole Miss?
They're winning. They are winning 10 games a year. So I mean, technically, they're not that far off
to do that. But if they didn't lose Judkins, they actually could have been a national championship team.
I don't see. Yeah, because I'm honestly
losing
wondering.
Him. That's the one piece that they had basically one of the best off seasons of any program. And they lost Judkins to Ohio State.
I just like Roger Dodger's saltiness here because they fired him on a tarmac. Good job, USC.
USC.
I'm just saying. But the interesting thing though is, so if Florida fires Napier, they owe the buyout. Are they not still owing more money previously to coaches? So who can they realistically hire, and how much money can they put forth for a new coach? Because, like, say they went after Jed Fish. Jed Fish is going to have a buyout. I don't know what that is, but I'm assuming it'd at least be $10 million. So you're talking immediately to hire Jed Fish, for instance, probably $36 million to buy out one and hire the other.
Well, I mean, Texas A&M fired Jimbo Fisher, paid out $75 million. So at this point, no coach is safe in all of college football. No matter
what. Well, I mean, Texas A&M was just dumb. I mean, that was one of the worst things that I've ever seen in my life.
It was as soon as I saw 100 years. As soon as I saw 10 years guaranteed, I went, "You're idiots." You are all.
It doesn't matter that
stupid.
They have enough money to throw away, oil money, whatever. It doesn't matter. You're just throwing away dollar bills for nothing. It's just idiotic. It doesn't matter that you have it. Because what do people always say? The more money you have, the more money you spend. Yeah, it's true, but it's still dumb. They shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, they literally went like this. They literally called him Sunday night. It was like, hey, you know what? Here's $70 million. Don't come into work tomorrow.
The thing is, I'm not sure Florida's as well heeled as you think they are. I really do think these are issues that they have to consider that places like A&M might not have to. I don't know if
Florida has more fans than Ole Miss. I mean, that's true. They got more fans.
But I don't know. I don't know if they've got. I don't know if they've got. But I don't know that they've got the extreme big money boosters, and they might. I'm ignorant on this completely. I'm just saying I don't know precisely that they have these well-heeled high rollers that can just like bankroll any decision you make. Just like cost is not a factor. Like A&M does have that. Like they never have to consider cost. on any of their athletic department decisions because they know that they've got that. I'm not aware that. I'm not aware that Florida has that booster base.
I'm sorry.
That
as a booster at Texas A&M, even if you have billions of dollars, you have to be going, why am I giving you $20 million to waste?
Well,
you have to be asking that question.
And that's why they hire a guy like Mike Elko. Just like get a guy in there who knows how to like coach football.
That's a good hire though. That was a good hire. I mean, it was sensible too.
Well,
that was a
Florida should hire Lou Holtz.
Nah.
Where is Lou Holtz? He's in a retirement home.
How old is he? Like 85?
He's got to be 90 almost now.
I don't know how old he is. I know he's old.
Like 90.
87.
87. Okay, we'll split the difference.
He's going to be 88 on January 6th.
Oh, by the way, thinking of old people, it was great to see Corso back on game day this weekend.
Yeah, that was
been
cool.
on the last 2 weeks.
I have not been watching games. Spaz, I'm drunk in the mornings. I don't wake up till football kicks off. So it was nice to see Corso there and actually sounding like I could understand what he was saying.
The first kickoff of the day is what wakes Ben up.
That's actually the mark. It's actually Sam bitching at me to get up.
He has an
That's the little brown guy next to him going, "Get out of bed, bitch."
Yeah, no, it's Sam. It's Sam going, "Hey, we should get up," and then I'm like, "Oh shit, football!" And then it's my morning margarita that wakes me up. But yeah,
I gotta ask you about the morning margarita when we get off air. But anyway, back to Pittsburgh.
It's delicious. It's delicious. Did Jeffrey get to talk about Florida State dumpster fire?
Yes, he talked a little bit about it.
A little bit. I mean, I didn't get to say a lot. I mean, I don't know, man.
It's a trash heap. It's a trash heap. It's been set on
fire. I will
fire.
say that the 3 games were tricky. I mean, they were tricky games. Memphis.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
they didn't have an easy Alabama A&M type of game. They didn't, a game that could just get all.
I have to point out they had a bye week before Memphis, so
I agree.
And they were at home.
They have an Ohio State schedule. So yeah,
I think their effort level now, like even Mark said it. Mark said that he doesn't look at body language, but Florida State's effort against Boston College was nil. They didn't even like they were trying in that game. So that's a big problem.
I do give Florida State defense in this game more credit because at least the defense looked like they were trying. But again, I'm sorry, DJU, in all due respect, I don't say anything bad because me and Spaz have had his dad on our show because of the Oregon connection.
Wow.
He just doesn't try at times. He's 6'5", 250, and when he can run a yard, he's like pessimistic about doing it. And I'm like,
he's not Cam Newton. He's not.
I'm like, dude, just lean forward and you're good. And he just does not do it. I don't know what it is. Clemson broke him. Whatever happened officially at Clemson behind the scenes, absolutely.
That game that he had against Boston College and Notre Dame, those 2 games when he filled in for Trevor Lawrence, that was the highlight of his career.
Yeah.
He was really good.
Yeah,
everybody was saying he was the next big thing. Nobody said he was trash then. He was really good for 2 games. And he did okay. He did okay. But he had a lot of help around him too, and a good coach, and that's why it worked out enough.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's just a lack of confidence in what he actually can do.
And like he was a guy that had like all those expectations coming into college. He had like all that expectation, especially after his performance in those couple games as a true freshman during the COVID season.
Yeah.
And some people just don't deal with that very well. Like especially like 18, 19 years old. It's like, I mean, like, I'm not sure if I was a super talented kid at that age. Like, I mean, like I felt like I had enough pressure on me. I felt like I was about to break enough at that age, when I was that young. So it was like, I mean, like, just like, man, I mean, you're, it's I would have thought he would have like kind of gotten out of it. When I watch him DJU play since he's been at Clemson and even was at Oregon State last year, I see a guy that can't escape his own head. You know what I mean?
I don't know who this. I don't know who this is, but no, this is not. This is not that meeting. You're in the wrong place.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
No, yeah.
Sean makes a great point though. Like I said, something in DJ broke, like confidence wise, and it's kind of like that expectation of like the same thing. Like when you're like 20, 21, there's bands that get signed on and has like a huge record deal. And then a few years later, their ego gets to them, and they break up. All of a sudden, that's kind of what DJ was. He had not necessarily ego, but he got fed the expectations that he was put, and it just never worked out, and it just kind of destroyed him in a way.
It's almost like the opposite of ego. It's almost feeling like you're not worthy of the position, and you have to overcompensate. You feel like you have to wrestle with this in your own head, and like you can never actually be yourself when you go out and play football. You know, I mean,
yeah, he's good in certain areas. Then there's other areas he's never recovered to. And he just lacks a confidence. That's what I see when I watch him. It's just not all there still.
No, and you can, but you also get enough of the glimpses where you can see why people were like excited about him. Why people, it's just like occasionally he'll make that throw to the far hash. That's like, ooh, that's unique. That's special. But it doesn't. He never puts it together for a whole game. And, the end result is just mediocrity and just kind of
right here. That's perfect with Scoobers here. There was only a small, really excellent sample size.
So
the rest of it was average.
Yeah.
So,
but there'll definitely be more discussion on DJ Ukulele on Seminoles Live on Florida State at the Voice College Football Wednesday afternoon at 5 p.m. Central Time, 6 p.m. Eastern Time.
When
we
does
talked a little bit.
Norvell's head get chopped?
Huh?
When does Mike Norvell's head get chopped?
It's not going to happen.
I don't think not this year. Not this year. I mean, now if they go 0-12, then you're talking something. But if they don't
go the bags yesterday, though,
if Florida State went 0-12, that would be insane.
That's a good question, though. Can they go? Are they going to make a bowl game?
I don't know. I mean, they have to go 6-3.
Let's look up their schedule.
Here we go.
And the ACC is fairly similar to the Big 12, and I think like there's going to be a lot of games that are
I mean,
touch and go.
The ACC is not difficult, and they just had relatively easy games, and they lost them all. I mean, I said Boston College will give them fits. I didn't think Boston College would just run down their throat like they did.
No,
and I thought Memphis would be a challenge after that, but they had a bye week.
It's also problematic that they lost.
They're not making a bowl game. They're not making a bowl game. They're going to be lucky.
Let's go through this here, though.
Cal does not look like a joke team right now.
It's not a joke team. It's not a joke team, but that's a should-win game at home. Like that's like
they should have beat Memphis.
Memphis, I thought going into this week was a coin toss game. I really did.
Scoobers.
Memphis is a better. I think Memphis is a better team.
Florida did win a game.
Wow. Okay, so they're going to beat Charleston Southern for sure.
Well,
they do have that.
And maybe Duke.
How broken are they at that point, too?
And maybe North Carolina.
Imagine if they are.
They're not going to be broken enough to lose to Charleston Southern. I can tell you that much.
At that point, Norvell's
Miami.
At that point, Norvell's
Notre Dame. They're not beating Clemson. That's 3 more losses.
So Clemson, Miami, Notre Dame have 3 more losses, and they have to win every other game hypothetically in that scenario to make a bowl game. It's not likely. It's not likely.
Yeah, I mean, so that would mean they have to be Cal, SMU.
Cal can be an easy loss. I'll give that 50-50. At SMU, I'll say 50-50. Clemson, that's a loss. Straight up, that's a loss. Duke, probably a loss. Miami, right now, the way things look, that's a loss. Sure.
Miami's way better.
Already, just on those statistics, they're not going bowling even this year.
No,
I'm sorry, they're not going bowling.
No,
I mean, if you're definitely counting Clemson as a loss, then it's unlikely. They would have to win.
If they do, they're going to be the 5-7 team that gets picked up, because of a spot.
And we know they don't make their kids go to class, so they're not going to get that APR bump to go to a bowl game. So.
Yeah, SMU is I leave SMU like Scooter said, they'll beat MSU. SMU has been kind of up and down also. So, but it's at SMU, so I'm kind of like, we'll see what happens. With Florida State, almost everything looks like a loss.
Yeah, I mean, this is not good.
When you start 0-3 and a bye week, and still lose again.
Well, it's about body language, though. Are the players still going to try? Are they going to give effort? I mean, because
they're not looking
like they're not really giving that much effort. That's
problem. That's all they're doing is just half-assing everything.
Because they're a better football team than all 3 of the teams that they played and lost to. They have more talent than those teams.
They should be, but it's funny. Do you know how many Florida State fans have now online going, we have been lied to the whole offseason, how great this team is. We have been sold, they're false goods and stuff. And then me and Spencer
everyone was saying they were going to go 8-4, 9-3. That's not like a great to elite team. But
they're saying like maybe the best defensive line in college football is at least the conference and stuff like that. I'm like, you're definitely
you
not
remember
that.
The commentators, Ben?
Definitely
you remember the commentators, Ben, during the Georgia Tech game? Like, the defensive line that they have might be one of the best in college football. I don't know what's going on. They're letting Georgia Tech run all over. I'm like, sometimes what you hear isn't always the truth.
We tried to get Yogi Roth to get us behind the scenes of like, were you looking at your commentary going, what the fuck is happening with this Oregon team in Idaho game? And he's like, no, we just sat back and we were just talking. I'm like, God damn it, Yogi, give us the good stuff. Give us the secrets. You were looking at him going, what the fuck?
And by the way, Ben, congratulations on Oregon. They finally look great. Congratulations. That was an impressive. Oregon was impressive, and Notre Dame. Good job, Will.
Yeah.
Good job fighting Irish.
Yeah, Will's still afraid to come on.
Yeah, for once we weren't stressed.
Will should be on this week. What's going on? That was impressive. They needed that last week.
Yeah, for once we weren't stressing because the Boise State game had me actually stressing. I don't stress. I have only turned off 3 Oregon games in the last 17 years. And the Boise State game was really getting close to it, where I was just like, I can't do this. I cannot do this. 2 of those games came in Mark Helfrich's final season, where I was just like, I can't.
You're a saint for even showing up for those games.
I was like, I can't do it.
Yeah, it was kind of like USC fans, Ben, when they played Cal when Clay Helton got fired. You remember that Cal game at the end of that? Oh my gosh, Ben, that was a sick game.
Well, it was the same. It was the Stanford game at the beginning of the year. Stanford just ran wild on him.
Yeah, he got fired after that, but that Cal game at the end of the year was pathetic.
Yeah,
but honestly, it's like I don't even want to look at Florida State because it's just it just gets me mad. Because like they had all this hype and they look terrible. It's just, oh my God. It's like, I just don't get
but we do have to ask the question, like Florida, basically a state, like a nation state onto its own with like immense resources, like every privilege you could have as a college football program is available to you in the state of Florida. Why are all these programs so volatile, so inconsistent?
Thank you, Jason O. Thank you.
Please talk about it. Let's see.
Yeah, I know, right?
The title of this show is
more
FSU as a dumpster fire.
Hey,
I mean,
it's important to talk about how bad teams are, right?
Breaking news, guys. It's looking like the Boise State Portland State game next week is going to be canceled.
Oh yeah.
Why is that?
Oh yeah,
There's
the
been a
whooping cough
epidemic that's broken out at the Portland State team. So
wait. They're afraid. They're afraid of a whooping.
Yeah.
They're going to lose that game by like 80 points.
Yeah,
So,
they are. I'm sorry.
Boise
Boise State is a good
like
team.
80-0 games.
Yeah, Boise State is a good.
So Boise
team.
State's going to get another bye week this week, most likely.
Yeah.
Because they're afraid of the Viking whooping.
Portland State is a bye week anyway. But
Spaz, let's take this a little further. Mr. Duggar is not here. That's another stream, but Mr. Duggar not here. But it's funny. The elections are coming up, and now we have all these whooping cough situations and outbreaks.
Yeah, we need a break.
Yeah. Conspiracy theory. Put on your tinfoil hats, everyone. We're going there.
Yeah, but
Mark will kill me. Mark will message me right now and say, "Shut the fuck up."
God damn it, Ben. The voice of college football is where you get a break from hearing about the election, hearing about religion.
You can't even escape it, man, when you're watching the games. What do you think?
I don't like Jackson. I don't like Jackson diminishing my conspiracy theory talk, so I removed him. He can add himself back in any time. He has the power. He has the power. He can do it himself.
But yes, if you want to get a break from hearing about discussions of politics, religion, or debates of the Great Pumpkin, come on in.
I can deal with the Great Pumpkin any day.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, nothing like staying up late. Nothing like staying up late, arguing with strangers about anything really. But I will say, if you love top-notch exclusive live streams, watch parties, predictions, betting advice, and insider alerts and all college football, go to patreon.com/MarkRogersTV or become a YouTube member at The Voice of College Football. And don't forget to tell your friends, your family, your frenemies, and the cashiers at Publix or at Whole Foods about The Voice of College Football bets here on.
This is the best comment of the night right here.
It is.
Unless something was better before I got on. Right here.
That is true. Mark does watch sometimes and comment, but I think he just tries to avoid it and just sees what it does the next day. As long as it doesn't get demonetized, he's like, as long as it doesn't get demonetized, he's like, that's cool.
Yep. And the next day. And the next day.
Dang
and the
it.
next day.
Quit
Plankton.
culturing everything. You took my Charlie Brown. You took my.
He is way too trusting now.
You took my Aunt Jemima. Joe Biden, quit taking everything.
Oh,
Oh, man.
okay. Anyway.
Are there other teams we wanted to discuss?
We didn't get to discuss a little bit. We discussed the game of Pitt, West Virginia, but we didn't discuss Neil Brown. We didn't discuss whether he's back
Neil
on
Brown's his seat's getting a little warm again.
Mm-hmm.
What about prime time?
Prime time's on fire.
God damn it, Sean. Stop it.
What happened there? I don't know.
You disconnect and you pop back in automatically. I'm like, stop doing that.
No, I didn't do anything. It literally just, my tablet here just gave me a little ping. I don't know what it did. Neil Brown. I mean, like, I feel like if you've been at any of these sort of mid-level sort of Power 4 programs for a while and you haven't done anything like exceptionally successful, you're always on the hot seat. I mean, it's just like, hey, you've been here like 6 years, and we've been to the Meineke Car Care Bowl and the Pop Tart Bowl. What can we do?
Well, remember, Neil Brown was on the hot seat last year until they took a run. They literally wanted to fire him mid-season, West Virginia fans. He took a run, and everyone's like, we love Neil Brown.
Yeah, I love how they went
fuck
from
Neil Brown. We want to kill him.
He's a great coach now. Like, it's just like that.
Yeah.
Is it as if he changed as a head coach, as if he got like a million?
He suddenly improved. I mean, I've said it the whole time for years. I just think he's average. I think he's average.
You're going to have a competent, respectable program with them. You're probably never going to be great.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, he's a good fit, I think, for West Virginia when you want just a solid, steady program. You're going to have your really good years, like a lot of programs do. You're going to have a couple bad years, but he's going to be very solid overall. I don't think he's going to be like this three-win team, 3-win, 3.
I think
he's not going to be like that.
This week, I think he needs to beat Kansas.
Well, I mean, like that's kind of a real inflection point.
Look at that schedule right there: Oklahoma State, Iowa State, Kansas State, Arizona. He needs to beat Kansas. He needs to beat Kansas.
Yeah,
they ugly, and Neil Brown will be on fire.
They could lose their next 5 games.
You know what I'm saying? I'm telling you, Neil Brown's in trouble. I'm calling it right now. He has to beat Kansas.
No. At home, he has to do. He has to beat Kansas. He has to do it. Otherwise, you're gonna. We will never hear the end of firing Neil Brown.
It will happen again.
Like last year, it was just fire Neil Brown.
It almost got to the point where I felt that there were so many people saying fire Neil Brown. I thought he was fired.
And then he became a god. All of a sudden, by like week 8, they were like, "We love Neil Brown." I'm like, "Wow."
Does anybody remember that Houston game last year?
Yep.
That Houston game was insane.
That was insanity right there. Especially if anybody that bet on that game.
I take that back. This is the best comment. I'm sorry.
It is the pinnacle.
Hummus and I coordinated on this. I have to admit, I served up a softball for him here, and he took it. He took it 100 feet here.
I still can't wait for the Pop-Tart Bowl this year. I swear. I hope they just go above and beyond.
I hope they don't get rid of the Pop-Tart.
In the worst, I hope they go above and beyond the worst, most like PG-13 R-rated that they can get away with. Like in all essence of it, kind of like the Mayo Bowl. I mean, if you're dumping a giant tub of white substance,
disgusting.
Yeah, the Pop-Tart Bowl needs to up their game. They need to up it.
I can't stand when game day will show those guys doing that in the stands, man, with the mayo. I can't stand that. It is just disgusting. Like, I'm a guy, I don't hate mayo, but I only like a little bit of mayo. You know, like if you got a sub a foot long, just a little bit of mayo on there. I'm fine with that.
Well, but that's why I tell them just do the chipotle sauce.
Yeah.
Usually.
Well,
a little bit of light mayo and then chipotle sauce mostly. That's what.
I mean, honestly, if anyone shouldn't be offended by mayo, as long as the mayo, it should be you, Ben.
Well, I'm sorry, Chad. I don't date white people, hence the chipotle, because I dated a brown guy. I don't know what's going on right now. What are we talking about next?
I don't know if I'm laughing more at Ben right now or Sean's reaction.
He still has white cream, right?
Yeah.
Rated R.
Anyway.
I might have to leave.
And Mark's texting me right now going, what the fuck are you guys talking about?
This is not football, man.
Oh my God. I did just get a text, but it's from Spaz. My phone vibrated. I touched it, but it was from Spaz. I was like, oh shit.
Where do we see Pitt after they beat West Virginia? Where are we?
Jackson's desperately trying to save this show right now.
Here I come to save the day.
I don't know. I have no idea what's going on right now. No idea. By the way, my knee hurts, and so no.
This really is after dark.
Well, if people want to see what I'm dealing with, I showed the guys earlier. I took off the ice pack, so this might explain to some people what I'm dealing with right now. I decided to go fuck up my knee last night. It fucking hurt. The bandage is actually stuck. It is stuck to the
That sucks,
scab.
man.
It sucks. Yeah, it hurts really bad. So I'm trying to just like chill and relax.
So with Pittsburgh,
Look at Tim's comment.
Where is it?
Oh my goodness. Well, depending on some people's point of view, it could be the best moment. I don't know.
Yeah.
There's a good point. We do need to talk UGA UK a little bit because there was later on. We don't need to right this second, but we did not touch upon it because it was such an atrocious game. And David Wood, I take that as an offense. Jeffrey, cover your eyes. Don't read that comment.
I don't know what to even do anymore, man.
Don't read that comment.
I'm strapped in and I'm along for the ride at this point. I don't know.
Go get Mr. Dillon, Ben. Go get Mr. Dillon.
God.
Hey, we're still live, man. We're still live.
Apparently we are. And Mark has not texted me hate messages going, hey, stop it.
What Jackson? I love that comment. Jackson not said a single word. Oh my gosh.
Well, he knows Meemaw K is watching here, so he's.
I can't stop laughing right now. These
I
comments.
saw the chat was killing me earlier. I literally
this is way better than Saturday Night Live, man.
Yeah,
this is way better.
I was dying a few times.
Right.
Oh yeah, let's go. UGA and Kentucky. That was
at least Sean McDonough didn't waste his puberty voice. So there's that.
That was an ugly game.
Yeah. How about that? A probably 60-year-old guy with who sounds like Jeffrey. Every time someone breaks a 20-yard run, oh my god!
Oh come on, man!
Kind of used to do that too, but he don't do that anymore. I mean, it's hilarious when they get really high pitch. I will say it's killing me that so many people are like surprised Georgia barely won this game. I mean, yeah, I picked Georgia to win big, but it doesn't shock me. They've done this before against Auburn and Missouri and Kent State, and they still were great those years. So yeah, not a problem. I think they'll be fine. I will say I think they're worse this year. They are worse this year, but they're still an elite team. They clearly are better than that. We know that.
Every year they have 1 to 2 games where you're like, what is going on with them? But that's what all teams deal with. Every team deals with those types of games.
We've seen them through the first 3 years, a few games this year. I mean, they've got some issues on this team. Like they don't have a lot of explosiveness on offense. I mean, that's
what I'm saying. I think they're a worse team this year, but I think they're still elite.
Yeah, I mean, like they're still capable. I'm sort of backing off them as like sort of I thought Ohio State and Georgia were sort of 1 and 1A this year. I feel like Texas is a little more complete than they are at this point this season. Like that's just, And I feel like Tennessee might be more dynamic. They're way more dynamic for sure than Georgia is right now. And
it's crazy that Tennessee went from really dynamic 2 years ago to not very dynamic, and now they're really dynamic again.
Oh my god! But Nico. I mean, like clearly he's better than Joe Millen. He's better than Henry Hooker. You can see like special qualities in him. And you have a really smart, innovative coach who's probably a little bit ahead of the curve in offensive game design with Heupel. And I mean, right now they're looking like silly dominant right now at Tennessee. I mean, just like I know you can criticize the quality of their competition all you want, and NC State's a decent team. NC State, no one should be beating 40. NC State by 41 points.
Oh, I mean, I picked Tennessee to win by like 10.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, like nobody should be doing what they're doing right now. Is it sustainable? I mean, I don't think so, but we'll see. I still think they're the most interesting team in college football right now. I think.
True.
Well, it would be crazy if Alabama, beats Georgia, but then loses to Tennessee. That would be crazy. That could happen easily.
Yeah. Anything can happen in the weird world of college football, especially in the SEC. But yeah,
I mean, I think Georgia's good. I really do. I think they're really good still. But I mean, I just feel like the fact that they've done it before, you got to give Kirby the benefit of the doubt for now. That he's like they're going to figure it out. But I will say their schedule's harder this year too. They don't have that cakewalk that they've been having in the SEC East. That's gone. Their schedule's harder this year.
Right.
So even if they were as good as they were, 2 years ago, they'd probably still drop a game. Maybe we'll see. Maybe they drop 2 games this year. Maybe they go undefeated. Who knows? But their schedule is harder this year. It is. That's an underrated aspect of no divisions.
Yeah, and that was something I talked about earlier. It's like in previous years, you could pretty much divide like an SEC East schedule from an SEC West schedule. Mm-hmm. Like an SEC West schedule was just always going to be super hard.
Mm-hmm.
An SEC East schedule, like
the Big Ten East, Big Ten West, but I think the SEC
not even quite like that, because you had a protected crossover game and one additional crossover game. The Big Ten, they didn't have any protected crossover games, so you could draw the 3 toughest teams from the other division.
Yeah, that's true.
It was like Georgia, they played Auburn. They play Auburn every year. I don't know if that's still good. Is that still a?
It is. Georgia Auburn's still annual, and it should be.
Okay, yeah, absolutely.
I still think it's funny that Georgia Auburn has a rivalry name, but Georgia Bama doesn't.
Yeah, like you play one additional team from the West every year. That could be a bad Arkansas team. That could be Mississippi State. So some years it could be like the schedule is terrible because the SEC East isn't really strong, which it hasn't been for several years. And then you draw like Auburn, who's mediocre, and Mississippi State or Arkansas, who are mediocre themselves. And then like they get to say, we're SEC, like we play an SEC schedule, but it's not the same. Not every SEC schedule is the same. Now it's a little bit more level. Now people, it's at least random, so you're not geographically protected.
Yeah.
You there, Jeffrey?
He's here.
All right, cool.
But yeah, we'll definitely go into a deep dive quite a lot on Georgia, Alabama real soon for week 5. But week 4, I'm curious to see some of the lineups in action, like Utah, Oklahoma State, USC, Michigan, Tennessee, Oklahoma. I'm surprised. I'm not real surprised about Ohio State, Marshall being on big noon kickoff because they were trying to figure out what game they're putting on there.
I can't believe that. I mean, I get it. It's Ohio State. I get it, but that's insane.
Friday night will be fun.
The crazy thing about that is if you put like a good game on there, like I mean, like just say there was like a decent like Big 10, Big 12 crossover matchup like Kansas, Illinois or something this week. Ohio State, Marshall will outdraw that. Like,
oh yeah, yeah, Jason. I hate that Georgia.
See that's why they did A&M Florida. That's why they did A&M Florida on ESPN. Back over on ESPN too. It's all about ratings. Absolutely.
Yeah, Jason. You were saying in the comments that the old-time rivalries were Georgia, Auburn, Georgia Tech, Alabama. Believe it or not, Georgia Tech, Bama have played over 50 times. Yep. Because I really hate that Georgia Tech and Alabama haven't played since 1984. Because, Georgia Tech's in the Alabama fight song. They should be playing each other as much as possible. But, I'm not going to turn this show into my venting session. I'll wait till off-season event about that because but Sonny Verma from Locked On Illini Cast, and the Big Ten Show brings up a very good point. Nebraska opened up as double-digit favorites against Illinois Friday night. That is going to be an underrated game for sure.
Where is that being played?
That's going to be at. Let me see. I think it's in Champaign. I'm not too sure. No, it's in Nebraska. My mistake. It's in Nebraska. I think Illinois is going to have a hard time scoring in that game.
They were having a difficult time with Central Michigan for about a half yesterday. That was
I mixed it up. I was like, I thought it was in Champaign. Nope, it's in Lincoln. My mistake. But I
guess like if any program deserves that kind of shine, that space to themselves, it is Nebraska, because that's the best fan base in the country.
I
will never be convinced otherwise.
Oh yeah, I wish honestly they could move Nebraska Illinois to big noon kickoff. And switch.
That would be perfect, and then they'll have to march on Friday night, but still, it's not ratings.
And if they were concerned with my social life and personal life and all, that's absolutely what they would do. But they didn't consult me on that, so I don't know.
Hey, one of the most interesting games of Week 4 is Utah Oklahoma State. That's interesting. And hopefully Cam Rising can play. I know nothing about what his injury availability is right now.
He's out.
I have my doubts that he'll be available for that game.
So he's out. He's going to be out for a while.
No, I'm guessing. I'm guessing that they've been very clandestine, and usually, if positive injury information comes out, then that will get leaked sooner than negative. Information will.
Did anybody see Isaac Wilson's performance?
Who is that?
He's the quarterback taking over for Cam Rising while Cam Rising recovers. Obviously, that I take that.
And I know Utah was terrible at Baylor after he went out, and they weren't real impressive against Utah State this week. But no.
If Utah can win against Oklahoma State with Isaac Wilson at QB, does this mean they can win the Big 12? Or do we need
to can you give us some information on his performance? How did he do this week?
Yeah, I have no idea. I didn't see any of that game.
Well, let's look at his performance, shall we?
I just know they played at 4:00 on CBS Sports Network or something like that against Utah State. That's all I know. I saw the final score, but I didn't see it.
Well, hold on.
It sucks Cam Rising can't stay healthy because he was a very fun quarterback to watch.
Well, Isaac Wilson, he had 20 of 33 completed passes, 239 passing yards, 3 touchdowns against Utah State yesterday.
Not bad. Okay.
Yeah, because if they can win,
Utah State's not a quality opponent though either. So
yeah, it's not like where they were in 2012, where they were competing for the WAC. So
the WAC was still around in 2012.
Yes, it was the last year.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
And Louisiana Tech, San Jose State, Utah State were all ranked in the top 25 at one point.
Wow.
Yeah, Louisiana Tech had some good seasons with Skip Holtz. I know that.
So did you see who was in the top 25 of the AP this week?
Yes, the AP top 25, but the top 25 that actually makes sense for Mark Rogers will be coming out later on. We don't know when that release will be, or it may have been released. We don't know yet, but that will be a very interesting top 25.
He usually releases them on Sunday, doesn't he?
I think he's been doing them on Monday this year.
Okay. Yeah.
But he was doing them on Sunday. I don't know.
Yeah. Scroll down to 23 in the AP They're not in the coaches poll for some reason, but
Well, the AP poll has Texas at number 1. That's the first time since 2008. So that's pretty cool for the Texas Longhorns. Yeah, and no surprise, it's 3, 4, 5, 6 SEC teams in the top 10. And we see 7.
Six in the top 7. Has that ever happened before?
Oh yeah,
that's got to be a record.
Yeah,
I mean, they got all the best teams right now.
Yeah.
I don't think the playoff top 25 is going to look like that in November, honestly.
No, of course not, because they're all going to beat each other up. But here, like number 23, the AP. Scroll down, Jackson.
Yeah. Northern Illinois.
Number 23, Northern Illinois.
That's so wrong.
So they beat. They outside of that one win over Notre Dame, they've had a bye week and they've beaten maybe the worst team in all of Division I football, Western Illinois.
Clemson, honestly,
a team that hasn't won a game in 3 years.
Yeah, they're bad. They are really bad.
How dare you talk bad about Merrimack?
Hey, Merrimack won yesterday. What are you talking?
I gave them a shout out at the beginning of the show. That's all we talk about Merrimack. I gave them a shout out.
We're talking about Western Illinois.
I know. I gave Merrimack a shout out though. But this is what the polls do to the SEC every year. All of them bump them into the top 10. They start knocking each other off. Like, well, I guess they weren't that bad. They're cool, and so they drop them like 2 spots, and that's it. Mm-hmm. It's the same shit all over again. I mean, it really is the same shit. I don't know how. I don't know how Notre Dame is still ranked. To be honest, losing Northern Illinois like that, you should have been.
Northern Illinois should be ranked ahead of Notre Dame at the very least.
In theory, by ranking standards of what the playoff committee.
I mean, if you're going off head to head, then yes. But I mean, Notre Dame's a better team than Northern Illinois.
Yeah, but
like Northern Illinois, 99 out of 100 is not beating Purdue 66-7. Notre Dame played like garbage against Northern Illinois. They play like absolute garbage. They got their junk together against Purdue and show what they actually can be. I feel like you got the 2 extremes of Notre Dame. Like against Texas A&M, that's a decent performance for them. Against Purdue, that was their best, and against Northern Illinois, that was their worst. We've seen all 3 versions of Notre Dame this season.
Yeah, Joe Long is drunken Ben and Sam, and more just drunk Ben and sober Sam. But thank you for the shout out. Love you too, Joe.
Wait, your new name's Bill?
Apparently, yeah. That's why I had to correct that. I do. Yeah, that's why I say there are some teams in here that we need more data. We need more info on, because you've seen some teams like, say, LSU, USC. Then LSU struggles with South Carolina. So is that good for USC? Bad for USC? Is South Carolina just better than we think than we know they are? Or are they just – we don't know yet.
South Carolina beat Kentucky 31-6, and then Kentucky hangs with Georgia. I mean, college football is broken.
Yeah.
That's why the argument the other night with Tim and Mark about who's better, USC, LSU. The better team doesn't always win. That's number one. Northern Illinois is not a better football team than Notre Dame. That's just a fact. And
we already talked about West Virginia too. So Joey, you're a dumpster fire also.
Teams do not play the same way every week. They vary in their play. You could have a bad performance and the next week play good. It's just that's why you can't say a team's better than another. That's why I don't do head to head that you're better. That doesn't work for me. Because because you beat a team doesn't mean that you're automatically better.
It's good comparison, but after other teams play those teams. That's why there's more data needed. I mean, Oregon struggled 2 weeks in a row. We know what the problem was. Now they look like what they're supposed to look like.
Yes.
I need to see it more, though, before I can go, okay, I have no problem with them dropping in the polls like they have 2 weeks in a row with a win, because I'm like, yeah, it's questionable, you know.
And it also doesn't matter in the end. Like I mean, you wherever you're ranked in the final in the playoffs, that'll be what you earn, pretty much. You know.
And right here, like I'm not impressed until this last weekend. I'm not impressed, but even then, again, I need to see 2 to 3 more games like that,
like against Idaho and I guess Boise to an extent. Maybe that was Oregon at their worst. Maybe against Oregon State, that was a minus performance. And maybe that's
Boise State is a good team, but I need to see what we saw against Oregon State. I need to see like 2 to 3 more games in a row. Then I'll be like, all right, it's on track. Because who knows what will happen? I mean, Oregon should win the bye week. If they don't, God help us. But they should win the bye week, unlike Florida State, who lost the bye week and then lost again.
You know the team I fear most during the bye week is Georgia. That is the team I fear. That is the team I fear could lose like 3 players during that bye week.
It's so hard to judge teams on week 3. It really is. I know everyone wants to go into the, this team is so good, but it's week 3.
We still need a few more weeks. I agree. Yeah. It's still early. Still a lot of overreaction.
Teams are coming together. Teams are putting it all together. A lot of different coaching staff changes in some teams, and it's all going to come together. It's like, I know Tim is saying, hey, maybe OSU is not that good because they were good in a bad team. And I understand that, Tim. That's why I'm not taking much away from this game, other than we did what we were supposed to do. I need a couple more examples of this same type of team. But if you listen to Oregon State fans, they were going to demolish us and whoop our ass and take us behind the woodshed. And then they were literally crying on TV, coping on live TV. I should have cut a clip of that for the outro for this one. The guy like really crying in the stands. I should have cut a clip for that guy.
So Ben, you grew up like south of Portland or something like that, right? You were in the Portland metro, right?
I grew up in Gresham. I grew up in Gresham, Oregon. So literally like a mile and a half from the Portland city line. Okay,
like what was the divide like in your area between Oregon and Oregon State fans?
As a kid back then, it wasn't much. Now, half of my family then was Beavers. My great uncle was a lawyer. He graduated from OSU. He had Beaver season tickets. He would roll in his grave. He would roll over in his grave, knowing I was a Duck fan. My grandpa was more of an NFL watcher, where we would literally have to adjust the antennas and the tinfoil to get reception, to catch the game. So yeah, and then the rest of the family really wasn't into sports. I played baseball mostly as a kid, and I told people, I've been honest with this. I think it was 07. It was Oklahoma at Oregon. I was watching. I was in Iraq, and I was having like breakfast or lunch. Yeah. I think at that point I was having. It might have been lunch. I think it was a replay, and they were playing it on like one of the TVs in like our DFAC, the eating area, the DFAC. For people who don't know what the fuck that is, and it was the Oklahoma at Oregon game with Dennis Dixon, and I was like, "Let's go!" And I didn't get to watch it because I was on time constraint. But I've just always been an Oregon fan. That was really my first memory of like watching an Oregon game. And everyone was watching going, boo, because I think it literally was on the point of the onside kick. So it was like, yeah. I mean, I'm honest and open about it. I have no problem. But yeah, half of my family were Oregon State, actually alums. So,
nah.
Shut up, Troy. Bring it up tomorrow night. Damn it, Troy.
Okay. Was there anything we missed?
That's what I was about to ask. I'm like, is there any other notable thing?
After Troy's comment, you're like, we got to wrap this shit. Fuck.
Oh no, I was like this. I'm like,
otherwise that would be months of fucking therapy here.
I'm like, these guys are still going, and we didn't touch about Colorado State, which
Colorado looked really good against Colorado State, but I mean
they did, and then they look like absolute assholes after the game where they don't even shake hands, basically.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, less attention paid to that game, the better. It's not worth our energy.
It's kind of like
Jackson. What did I just say? Less attention.
Well, here. Does anybody remember the South Park episode of Prince Harry, Meghan Markle?
No, I haven't paid attention to South Park and
Well, it's kind of like that, where Colorado wants all the attention, no matter what, positive, negative. Where it's like we want our privacy, but and they're like playing all
that. Yeah,
I wish South Park was making episodes for this year. Because I'll be honest, it's right there in front of them. It is right there. Like Colorado this year is
South Park not making episodes now?
Huh?
Is South Park not making new episodes or
not this year because they're staying out of certain things, but they'll be back 2025.
Certain things.
We have a good idea what that means, Jackson.
Certain things. I can respect that too, though. Like, you know what? We're not going to deal with this. We'll wait till later, and then we'll make episodes about it. I can respect it.
One of the first of them needs to be involving Colorado football, because I'll be honest,
I don't think they're going to make an episode about Colorado football, but it would be epic.
Oh, it would be extremely epic.
It would be absolutely fitting too. I mean, like they absolutely should, because they make like 40 episodes a year. They produce like a shitload of content.
Well, can you blame some guys for Colorado? Can you blame some guys for taking a break? Can you blame some guys for taking a break?
Sometimes you need a break, man. You really do.
You don't want to get brain overload, man.
But Colorado, I'm sorry. Good job. You barely beat North Dakota State at home. You got blown out by Nebraska, and then you trounced Colorado State, which again we don't know how good Colorado State is.
Maybe they're worse than last year. We don't know.
Yeah, we have no idea.
We know they're not great.
Well, then good job being cocky shits and not even shaking hands. Shador, I'm looking at you, Shador, calling you out. Hit us up to come on the show. Hit us up.
Well, and Jeffrey, I mentioned early on the show tonight that it was kind of like that Gunsmoke episode where you saw like the spoiled son that thought he could get his way about everything, but then once reality was hitting him like a truck, he was begging for daddy. He was begging for everybody.
Bill.
That's what Shador Sanders is like. Because when something doesn't go his way, he is going to be begging for daddy.
Well, I mean, the thing is, it's so tough when you're the son of a very famous, player, or coach or whatever, especially player. It's the same thing with Bronny. With LeBron, Bronny got way too much hype for no reason. Just absolutely. Now, Shador is actually a good player, though.
Yeah.
Unlike Bronny, he was just mid. But the thing is that, I mean, Shador's not really helping his case. With people, I mean, whether people like you or not, it's not the biggest deal in the world, but I'm just saying that in general, like, I don't really think a lot of people like him right now.
Yeah. His attitude,
it's not a good
and I mean, like he is costing himself so much money in this draft. Mm-hmm. This position, like he's just like you're a good quarterback. You clearly understand football really well. Like you know the game. Like you're years advanced beyond your age.
He's a 5-star player.
You've got some skills as a thrower. Just shut your fucking mouth.
Exactly.
Act like you're not like above it all.
That was
no one wants to bring on a quarterback, especially a quarterback who's a prima donna.
He's a 5-star QB, but he has a 1-star attitude.
Yeah, that was the problem.
No one wants to bring that shit on because you're the leader of the team.
I mean, yeah, because
that was brought up a lot this last weekend. He can be a top 5 or top 5 pick, or at least top 15 pick. So
you could go to the third round.
It's his character, his attitude that's going to kill his draft stock with a lot of teams. Now, teams are going to take the chance. I mean, if we do, if Tim's not here, I don't think anymore. Caleb Williams and F Utah, and he loses. Utah is undefeated. Basically he's never beat Utah.
I mean,
the point is character situation. Shedeur is 10 times worse than Caleb.
I mean, popping off on your line at a press conference.
Yeah.
I mean, you even have Deion. You remember the Twitter war that Deion had with some random guy when he was saying well, my son is way better than your son. Where's your son at? I mean, it's just stuff like that. That's not good, man. That is not it. You can't do that.
It's just a bad image. It's a bad image, but he has Deion to back him, so he'll probably get a pass to a degree, but it's not a good look. That's what stirs up and riles people up,
Well, it doesn't project well for the future. If you can't control yourselves when millions of dollars are on the line, when you've got a future to consider. If you can't actually act like an adult at 22 years old, what's the making you think? Giving you $100 million contract is going to make you more mature.
Shedeur Sanders, man, he bitches worse than a teenage girl on TikTok. Because at least you expect it from a freaking teenager. He's an adult. I was
about to say anybody on TikTok, right?
You can't bitch out your O-line or pop off on them in a press conference and expect them to protect you. If you next time you have a problem with your O-line, be a real man and talk with them privately. Be like, hey, I got some problems with you guys.
Hey, Deion did not do a good job recruiting the O-line either, though.
Obviously,
that's what I was going to ask. What was that? It was college, or I believe it was NFL, where the quarterback was such a douchebag. The O-line.
Oh, it's Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler on QB1.
No. This was years ago, though. The O-line literally just went through it on a blitz and let the quarterback get sacked by 5 guys. They were
was that a documentary or a fictional series or what?
No, that was legit. You just saw the O-line literally stand up and go, "Oh well," and the quarterback got murdered.
I would have done that. I would have done that if I was a lineman for Spencer Rattler's team. I would have done that.
That could be Shedeur. That could be Shedeur the next game. The
honestly,
it's looked like that for the last year and a half with your direct quarterback.
They may have some 5-star players. They may have a lot of followers on Instagram, but that doesn't mean anything on the field. This popping off on one another, talking shit about one another, gossiping about one another. No, that's over. If Deion Sanders needs an assistant coach that needs to get on their ass, seriously, because next week Central Florida is going to be playing them.
Yeah,
and everybody's going to talk about Colorado. Nobody's going to talk about Central Florida.
And
guess who's going to thrive when they're not talking about?
And watch it. They set the record. They sacked her 22 times in that game, and they win 67-0. Because no one's looking at Central Florida.
Maybe, yeah. And that's the thing. You got to take those types of comments. You can have critiques and criticism about your teammates and stuff. You got to do it behind the scenes in your meetings and stuff like that, or through the coaching staff. You don't do it in the post game or anything like that. I mean, like, what the hell is wrong with you?
The post game press conference is not your own personal venting session.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to say, that you have to lie, but like sometimes in the post game presser, you can't really say what you want to say. You don't get to really. You shouldn't really say what's on your mind sometimes, because I mean the thing is like a lot of times like what happens behind the scenes, that's how they feel. I mean your O-line can really be bad and the quarterback's irritated, but you still can't humiliate them on a presser because it's terrible.
Again,
so I think Shedeur has a point to an extent, but he shouldn't have done it the way he did.
Well, but that's beside the point whether he's like right or wrong. Like we can all agree, Colorado's O-line isn't great. They're not fantastic, but I mean, like it's your job to work around that as a leader of the team, as the quarterback. You can't make that as
committed to play for the team too. Yeah, it's for his dad, but he could play anywhere.
Yeah. He could have gone to Texas or Georgia or something and played behind like a lot of like 5-star offensive linemen. But
and Deion did not recruit a good O-line. I mean, he didn't. So.
Yeah, no, he didn't. I mean, but you look at the differences.
They didn't have a good O-line. They drove all of the like competent ones that they had off.
He's driven everyone away 2 years in a row. Deion has. He's driven everyone away. I mean, the point is, so like what Uncle Rico said, then blame his dad, blame Deion for this, because you look at the opposite. Look at last year, for instance, and I just doing a comparison to it.
Mm-hmm.
Knicks got sacked 6 times all year long. That was probably literally the best O-line in the country. Michigan got it, but it was one of the best O-lines in the country. In 2 games,
Washington
Gabriel was sacked 6 times. In 2 games, did he go in the post game and go, "Man, this O-line sucks"? No, he didn't. What does Shedeur do? My O-line sucks. There's a difference in maturity.
Yeah, I agree.
How you deal and handle your teammates and the team situation. There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I'll call Oregon's O-line garbage those first 2 games, but he never did. But Shedeur will throw him under the bus in front of the media. That there's a difference.
But I mean, the thing is frustrating is when Deion first got hired. I mean, most people were excited about it. I mean, everybody. I mean, no, I don't really think there was that many people that didn't like what Deion did at Jackson State. Everybody was fine with that. The reason why everybody's mad at Deion now is because of everything that has transpired since he's been hired at Colorado. Everything that's been said, the way the media just overhyped the team. It was ridiculous, and then all of the statements and things that have been said and done. That's the thing. It's like I didn't hear anybody saying all these things about Deion when he was at Jackson State. It's everything that's happened the last 2 years at Colorado that has made people sour on Deion and Shedeur.
I think it's more public knowledge now.
Yes.
Of the method he's gone about. Because remember his first press conference, so to say, or whatever with the team, his meeting with the team, it's like half of you won't be here.
Yeah,
or the season,
because I'm bringing in luggage and they're Gucci.
Yeah, pretty much. And then this last season, he also got rid of half the team.
How's that Gucci protecting you? You're a kid right now.
That's the point, and that's why. Oh, and then now also Colorado is all like, oh, Oregon cheated last year, and when we stomped their ass, and Eugene, and they're like, well, Oregon got videotape, fake video. They were trying to pull a Connor Stallions, like they got practice tapes of us and stuff like that. Just accept your ass whooping. It happened.
It's also like the rest of the year, like you got your ass whipped. You won 3 games and you got your ass whipped the rest of the year.
That's not like the only game you got stomped in or lost. You were atrocious.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, it's like just shut up. There are some things that it's the cockiness.
The thing is that Dion was like this as a player, but I don't think as many people had an issue with it back then because of the era that he played, and a lot of people kind of were that way.
Yeah, it's just now you're the face of a program.
Yeah, and you didn't have
you're not performing or meeting the expectations to be cocky.
You also didn't have social media when he played either, and see now everything just gets overblown with social media now.
But the thing was Dion, the athlete, and he was just absurd. I mean, Jackson and Jeffrey might be a little too. I'm barely old enough to really have.
No, Dion's one of the best.
Dion the athlete was 100% capable of living up to the checks his mouth cashed wrote, but he. As a coach, he's not.
But see, that's the issue where it's okay to basically be arrogant and all that if you're good. Yeah, that's an issue. I mean, because if Dion was going 10-2 right now, then everybody would excuse it. I don't think that's fair either. It's not. Just because they're not winning, and then he's saying these things, Shedeur saying these things, that people are going to trash him. But if they were going 10-2, 11-1, no one would be saying that. So. I don't know. I really don't know on that. I think people should take what people say and do to account whether you're good or not. But
I think that's the point though. If he was 10-2 and being cocky, it'd be like okay,
no one would care. It'd be like, he can back it up.
At least you're backing it up. Close losses, whatever.
But is that fair though? Is it fair? Well, it's not.
But it's better than not being bowl eligible.
I agree, but the problem is that it's different with being arrogant. But some of the things that have been said have been pretty bad, though.
It is, and I have to correct Ralph. Jeffrey was born in 2009. He keeps getting younger and younger and younger.
No,
you're gonna think I was born in 2012.
12.
Well, I said 2009. Come on now. I'm the old man on this panel. Well, me and Sean are basically the same age, so we're the old men on this panel.
you guys were born in the 80s, right?
Damn right.
Yeah.
He's trying to go out
late 80s. Like
he's trying to go out the late metal hair.
Yeah. Yep.
That's about accurate, but he's 14 for the purposes of the show.
Well, before we
Before we head out, some underground stake and making sure people believe.
And Mark's gonna be like, "Stop promoting underage guests."
Well, okay, so you know how Ole Miss whooped Wake Forest 40-6.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Yeah, I saw that.
Hey, smart.
Oh, hell.
Smart.
What did that cost? What did that cost them?
$750,000.
That sounds about right. Yeah, that sounds about right. I was like, that sounds about right.
The sum increases to $1 million if notice of cancellation is given 12 months or less before the date of the scheduled game. So it was, I would say, 363 days before the start of the game.
Yeah, that sounds about right though, because every game and contract can vary. But I know A&M bought out with Oregon for home and home, and they paid like $750, and that was in like 2011 or 2012 when they bought out of the home and home series with us. I think it was $700,000, and that was 12 years ago.
Wait,
so that's not surprising.
Who brought out home with you, Ben?
Was that?
Who brought out home and home with you?
A&M at Texas A&M.
Okay.
That was when Mariota came in, and they were like, "Yeah, screw that." But at the same time, again, remember, and people forget this, and I always just love to bring this up. Chip and Mark Helfrich together were a good team in the sense of recruiting. They didn't like to recruit, but they were good recruiters because remember, for a brief period, they had Manziel and Mariota both signed to that class. before Manziel left. So, but we'll take Mariota any day over Manziel because he's a dumpster fire.
Well,
Florida State. I'm calling you out, Florida State. Dumpster fire.
Manziel was very talented, but he did not focus at all on football.
No.
That's all I can say. If he had him, he maybe could have been good.
Yeah. All right. We'll always take Mariota any day of the week over that. I mean, the worst thing in college he did before his Heisman season, he got a traffic ticket, like a speeding ticket.
Okay, I mean,
you guys didn't suspend him for 6 games after that?
No. He got a speeding ticket and a slap on the wrist. It was like bad, Marcus. Bad. You know, it was like that was the worst thing ever. It was like, oh no.
Yeah.
No. All right. Any other teams we want to talk about really quickly here? No. And shut up. We already talked Merrimack. Shut up. Very good.
Yeah. Fuck you, Bison of Bucknell.
And Merrimack is playing. Jeez, they're playing Maine this week. Oh no.
Yeah. Two famous warships going after each other.
Yeah, that's a great game, man. What a college football game that is.
Merrimack versus Maine. Let's go. This is what the chat is here for. Yeah,
I bet like at least 30% of people that watch college football don't even know Maine is a football team.
And they've never heard
Merrimack.
And they've never
Merrimack is probably plus 50, but we're spreading the awareness. So
they never heard the word Merrimack in their life.
I don't know what started this week. We must have been reviewing a schedule and we saw Merrimack.
Yes.
Who the hell is that? And now Merrimack's the most talked about thing on the Voice of College Football.
It will never die.
I swear to God, I'm gonna hit up the president of Merrimack or the athletic director and be like, you need to come on a show with us. And I bet they will. Just to spread.
Yeah, like literally, we've helped increase the exposure of Merrimack, man.
I swear to God, they would. They absolutely would.
Yeah. I mean, like the people in North Andover, Massachusetts, they need this economic zone. I mean, like, come on, give us some time of day.
It's like, if I remember that tomorrow, I'll actually tweet the AD or president of Merrimack. Mark will lose his shit. He will be like, stop. Because he'll have to do a Merrimack show if we did it.
I don't know. That's a stretch.
Hey, we got an Indiana channel. Well, I mean, what can we?
Well, speaking of Mark, tune in tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. Central Time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time for the morning show of the Voice of College Football as Mark goes over the latest news and notes in all college football with some of the top experts in all college football. Of course, there's the 4th edition of Crimson Tide Live from yours truly and Johnny Burtz. We bring our takes on what happened in the first 3 weeks, what we need to do, what we don't need to do, and before we play Georgia. And after that is the 21st edition of Longhorns Live from Matthew Miller as he goes over his take on the Quinn Ewers injury and the UTSA recap and much, much more. Stay tuned.
You're making me laugh. I heard you like giggling on my shop.
I mean, you got Jackson doing a perfect promo.
I know. I was holding it so hard to not interrupt him. And I'm like,
oh my
gosh. Jesus Christ. All right. Is there any other team that we need to discuss? You people are killing me. Absolutely killing me.
Now we can start getting to Division 3, you know.
No. Goodbye, Jeffrey. I will not allow that. No, I will not allow that.
No, that is actually not. That is actually not true. Carl Yastrzemski did not play at Merrimack. He played at Notre Dame. He got his degree from Merrimack after he joined after he signed with the Red Sox.
This is the wrong stream to have this.
Yeah, this is the wrong show. Wrong show, bro.
Hey, what show talks about Merrimack athletics more than this one? I mean, I think that's the right one.
No, does Merrimack even have its own sports channel? It probably does.
There's not even a lot on there.
With like 600 views all time.
I'm curious. What is the actual attendance of Merrimack?
I don't know. There's not even a lot.
It's small. It's like 2,000 students.
I have to assume. A Merrimack college attendance is 5,500.
Okay.
On average, 55. On average, let's put it average. Don't hold the exact quote, but 5,500.
Okay.
Let's just call it 5,000. So It's a small.
Yeah. It's not that much smaller than like Wake Forest. Wake Forest is like 4,500. Wake Forest.
I think this kind of stuff. This is why we were told do not.
Wake Forest has a bigger stadium than Merrimack. What?
Okay. What? Like I think some of the comments are basically the reason why we were told do not stay up at 1 a.m.
Oh, no, it's Troy. No, he's waiting for my stream on Monday night, on my channel, and so he's like
that.
And he watches this and then mine. Yeah, he watches this and then mine, so he does die a little inside.
We love you, Troy. You're awesome, man. I just want to let you know you won't see the bad dogs on here. You'll see it.
I'll just tell Troy all I wanted was a Pepsi.
Okay. All right. Let's wrap this up. Final thoughts on week 3, everyone. As it was a sleepy weekend to a degree, but there were some good games. But there was a lot.
I'm about to fall asleep right now, so I agree with you, Ben. It was sleepy.
Yeah, it was a little like after like 5-6 p.m. I was kind of like, there's nothing super interesting. Unfortunately, like all the other games that happened in the morning, which we talked like Wisconsin, Alabama, which again, Van Dyke going out really kind of killed that game. Unfortunately, not Bama's fault, but that kind of derailed that game, I think, way more than it was. So final thoughts on the weekend, week 3, and anything about your specific teams. One by one. Let's try to stay in order. Jackson, Sean, Jeffrey.
Well, I will say, I'm glad we were fantastic against Wisconsin. I wish Tyler Van Dyke nothing but awesomeness in his recovery process. Want him to get to film bear as much as possible. Great win at Camp Randall. So we had, and I'm loving what Kalen DeBoer's bringing out in Tuscaloosa, of course. And, of course, you can find me on Jackson Johnson 979 on YouTube, where I'm 131 subs away from the magic number 500. You can find me on Jackson VOCFB on X. And find me on Instagram and Threads at Jackson Johnson 543908. And, of course, you can find Crimson Tide Live, the 4th edition, Monday afternoon on Alabama at the Voice of College Football. And, of course, Alabama at the Voice of College Football is 110 subs from the magic number 2,500. Let's help get it there. Let's get it there.
Yes, everyone go to Jackson's channel and sub to him if you haven't already. He provides a lot of great interviews and great conversations with people in the sports world. As for me, Jackson will drop my link to Twitter, which I haven't bothered to personalize yet. And other than that, I just want to final thoughts on this. This was supposed to be like the worst weekend of the year for college football, and I still feel like we we found some interesting storylines, like, a few good games. And, that's the beauty of following the sport through the fall. It's like you never know when something's going to come up. You never know when a Georgia-Kentucky game will just turn into a bloodbath. And, yeah. And you never know when Florida State's going to fall to 0-3.
They're going
that's part of the intrigue of the sport, is like the greatest things come when you're not expecting them. So everyone's excited for the Georgia-Texas game, the Ohio State-Oregon matchups, but you know what? I mean, some of the most rewarding moments of the sport come when you're least expecting them. So, yeah, just pay attention throughout the year, and if not, we'll be here to break everything down for you on Sunday night. So, appreciate all of you guys. You guys have been absolute freaking animals in the chat tonight, and we always appreciate that. Always love it. So we all love you there, and everything I said about you guys all being like degenerates and dirtbags and scums of the earth earlier in the show, I completely stand by, and we do all love you all the much more for that.
I swear to God, what did we do with this? What did we do? What have we started with this? Anyways.
No. You don't quite. You can't question this, Ben. You just have to go with it.
It's too late now to question.
The tide is too strong. You can't resist it. Okay. Let's go, Jeffrey.
I don't know how I can outdo that, Sean. That was fantastic. I always agree that, like you said, that sometimes the games that you least expect are going to be the ones that surprise you the most. That's why you gotta watch, as many games as you possibly can. Not even just the brand teams. You can get some really great games out of some of the smaller games. Absolutely. And if this was the worst week of college football, then we're gonna have a great season. Because this was still a decent week. It was solid enough. It was good. I enjoyed the games. All my favorite teams, which I try to be as unbiased as possible, but all my favorite teams are undefeated still. Alabama, 3-0. That's great. I mean, that's expected, but it was a great win against Wisconsin. They look really good. I cannot complain about that performance. Some things to tweak up, but it was a great win for Bama. North Carolina still undefeated. They're I mean, I'm not really massively impressed with them, but they're doing all right. They're holding their own for now with no Max Johnson. And then Indiana. Indiana's undefeated too, 3-0, looking really good. Is this a start of a new era for Indiana? A good era? Are they going to be good consistently now? We'll have to see. Signetti's got them on the right track. They just can't lose them for another job. I don't think he will, but if he stays and keeps continuing what they're doing so far, things could be looking really, really good for Indiana. But regardless, it was a solid enough week of college football, and I can't wait for week 4 to see what happens as we get further and further into the college football season. But you can find me on my YouTube channel, Only Talk Sports, where I try to talk sports every single day, or at least I try to. Sometimes go a day without posting, but I try to post as frequently as possible. You can also find me on Twitter, Jeffrey at Only Talk Sports, where I post tons of sports news. I know people call it X now, but I still call it Twitter, but you can post a lot of stuff over there. And also on Tuesday night at 7 Eastern time, I'll be doing the first live stream for Indiana football on the Voice of College Football that nobody ever thought was going to happen. Indiana does have a football program because I'm going to be talking about it on Tuesday night at 7 Eastern.
Are you going to be talking about the Indiana University in Pennsylvania, the Division II program, or the Indiana in the Big Ten?
I'm not allowed to talk about under FCS because Ben will kick me off. I already tried Division. It didn't go so well. See, Sean, can't do that. We're going Indiana from the Big Ten. But I'm really happy. I'm really excited about the opportunity to do it. It's going to be a lot of fun. and hopefully Indiana has a really good season. I'm looking forward to it.
We said Signetti was a great hire for Indiana, and so far it's looking good. I think you need bigger sample size, like we say, with a lot of teams. Like I say, very happy with Oregon's performance this last week with the Civil War. It's a rivalry game. You never know what's going to happen in rivalry games. Everything can go sideways. On the road, put it together. But I need to see a couple more games. This week, it was a little slow, but there were some really good games still. I agree, Jeffrey. There were some really good games. So if this was the slowest, most boring week of college football this season, I'm very happy to watch the rest. I'm very happy if this was the slowest.
By the way, Ben, I do have to say, because I know we're getting close to that outro, Jackson told me what to say. I got it.
Well, yeah, because someone screwed it up last week. I was like, it was you. Yeah.
I got it. Unless you want Sean or Jackson to do it, that's cool.
We have to cede the territory. We've all had our opportunities.
I drink a lot, so sometimes I forget little things. But so once again, we have Jackson over here. He's been dropping links all night. He's the link master. Jeffrey from William Talk Sports. Sean, he's a creeper and hermit. You can't find him anywhere except for on this show or the what's called Football Live shows, the Ohio State shows. And I'm just Ben of Exploring with Ben and Sam. You can find me here on YouTube or Exploring with Ben on X/Twitter, whatever you want to call it, because who gives a shit? The chat, you guys are ridiculous. I don't know why you're still here. No idea. You have been cracking us up all night, though. All night, you guys have been cracking us up
every week. Well, why does this show have by far the best chat of any show?
It's unrestricted. That's I think why. But earlier, they were just just cracking me up. I was like laughing on screen. I was just like, stop looking at the chat. They were killing me.
All right, let's get to it, man.
Exactly. So once again, everyone, I love all of you. Appreciate you being here. We have next weekend to look forward to as we have week 4. So we get into conference play for most teams. We're going to get into that. And if you haven't, do hit the like and subscribe button. It helps the channel a lot. It means a lot to us. That way you can also be notified. Oh, notification bell. Notified we'll be live next Sunday again. We're going to be right here. I don't know who wants to do it. Someone just give me the outro.
Jeffrey, do you have this down?
I got it.
All right, hold on.
I trust it. I trust Jeffrey.
Let me know when you're ready. Let me know when you're ready.
I trust Jackson to have properly prepared him, and I trust Jeffrey to be smart enough to have recognized the.
All right. Jeffrey, tell the people what they want to hear.
Pop-Tart, play us out.
Goddamn right.
And giving out that 33-degree Mason.
Oh.
Didn't even need a third time. Second time's the charm.
And this has been CFP After Dark.
Looking for that.
And until then, we'll meet again. Don't know where, don't know when. I don't know. Well, we'll meet again some sunny day.
I can't wait for this year's Pop-Tart Bowl. Oh, God.